At a fancy cocktail party, Da-rim, to avoid her ex-boyfriend discovering that she was acting with a strange man, hugged that handsome stranger tightly and gave him an explosive kiss, successfully making her ex-boyfriend turn purple with anger and unable to do anything. However, just because of that kiss, she was grabbed by the man she had just met and passionately French kissed. The story goes back a few days, when a decisive CEO was awaiting a challenging Monday. Every contract brought in was signed with skillful efficiency. Suddenly, a young male secretary walked in and put a diamond ring on the CEO's hand as a proposal. She didn't refuse it, on the contrary. She was waiting for a French kiss. However, the male secretary didn't kiss her, instead saying the word Noangan. This word was repeatedly uttered by the handsome secretary. This is Noangan Station. And then, the president was pulled back to reality as an unemployed student named Da-rim. She hurriedly ran to school to make it in time for the teacher's class. After arriving at school, Da-rim paid close attention to the teacher's lecture. So much so that the teacher used her as an example for the students who were dozing off in class. I have never seen Da-rim doze off during class. Even if you put your whole heart into studying, the exam will still devour 5 years of your youth. She thought she was being praised, but the teacher's comparison hit her self-esteem because her 30-year-old self-esteem was still in school due to unemployment. Da-rim decided to give the teacher a piece of her mind for subtly mocking her. But then, the teacher pulled out a ticket worth a whole month's salary from her part-time job, causing Da-rim to immediately do a 180. You can call me a zombie in class or whatever nickname you want. Goodbye, teacher. The classmate next to her was utterly amazed, not thinking that this older sister would throw away her integrity for a ticket worth a month's salary. Besides her quick wit, Da-rim, as usual, didn't have a decent job even though she was almost 30. Her life was so normal it couldn't be more pathetic. As usual, she worked until late before going home, unexpectedly receiving a pleasant surprise after receiving the ticket worth a month's tuition. Now, getting a plane ticket to Jeju Island for a vacation from her younger sister, Da-rim chatted and laughed, not realizing the slightly tense atmosphere. Seeing that the return date was the 9th, Da-rim wondered if her younger sister wasn't getting married on the 8th. The younger sister then honestly told the story. She had lied to her boyfriend's family, saying that she had an older sister studying abroad in America. But her boyfriend's family was a powerful and high-class family, and she herself wasn't outstanding, so she had to use her sister as a shield. Suddenly, she had become a tool for her younger sister to climb up the social ladder. Da-rim felt a bit sorry for herself, but she also understood that her sister needed a good family. She figured she could consider this trip as a way for Da-rim to relieve stress. That's what she told her mother and sister on the surface, but when she went into her room, she felt like she was born to be left behind, unnoticed. Unlike her, Ji Hyuk is a well-known talent broker who's always searching for talented individuals for major investors. With a reputation built in just 6 months, he's helped many small companies find the right candidates, leading to explosive sales in a short period. This is why he receives numerous contracts requesting him to find people. They're willing to pay Ji Hyuk an extremely high fee. He handles everything in 3 languages: English, Chinese, and then Arabic, so communicating with investors isn't difficult at all. He quickly closed a talent search deal for an Arab investor. With a commission 10 times higher than usual, he received a massive payout. That number amazed his younger brother who follows him around. A tanks multiplier? Only Ji Hyuk could pull that off. After closing the deal, Ji Hyuk and his younger brother went to a bar to drink and unwind. As a longtime bachelor, he had no interest in women. Ji Hyuk's constant refrain is that women only hinder his speed in making money, to the point that when his younger brother brought girls over to introduce them, he coldly dusted himself off and left, not giving his brother any face. However, he also had one incredibly annoying thing to deal with: his father's friend's daughter, who was his arranged fiancée. This rich young lady was both beautiful and talented, and she was even head over heels for the cold-faced virgin Ji Hyuk. She had no objections to being matched with someone as perfect as him. What's more, she wanted to jump the gun. Sleeping together before marriage wasn't out of the question. Ji Hyuk still felt that women only slowed down his ability to make money. On the day she went to the airport to go to Jeju Island, Da-rim, in a cheerful mood, suddenly heard a familiar piece of information. An advertisement board showed the name and picture of her ex-boyfriend, a programmer who had risen to fame after breaking up with her. The story is that a few years ago, when she was still in love with Donggan, he dumped her because Da-rim was too ordinary, directly breaking up with her. He was someone with no money, no charm, and no career. Donggan, who was on the rise, saw her as immature and not grown up. He criticized her for being like a wilted spinach and broke up with her bluntly. Whenever she heard her ex-boyfriend's name, she felt a chill all over her body. And yet, because of this trip, her life would turn over a new leaf. A talent broker is looking for her ex, hunting a well-known programmer like Kim Donggan, which would earn Ji Hyuk a commission 10 times higher. Due to fate orchestrated by the director, the two occasionally run into each other on Jeju Island without realizing it. Only Da-rim has a sad face, seeing other people eating delicious food, but not having any money herself. Tightening her belt and going hungry, she takes a walk to ease her sadness. Unexpectedly, Da-rim runs into an old friend from middle school she used to argue with. The two chirped happily beside each other, overjoyed. It turns out to be a narrow escape. Ever since he broke up with her, that ex-boyfriend has been dating her best friend, Lai Susan. She is also a great programmer, and now the two are getting married and having a baby. Seeing her ex-boyfriend, Da-rim put on a forced smile as if she didn't know him. Even more painful, she was wearing the same outfit she wore on the day they broke up. Like a wilted spinach? To avoid embarrassment, she pretended she was there with her boyfriend. He was busy with something, but her ex-boyfriend's face was extremely provocative. He knew for sure that Da-rim was lying to get through the situation, thinking she came to Jeju to relieve stress. Unexpectedly, she picked up an extra burden. Da-rim felt completely helpless and turned to alcohol to relieve some of her worries. After getting drunk, she took a walk, and the bad memories from when she was job hunting resurfaced in her mind. A child with an ordinary appearance who didn't know how to put on makeup. Moreover, she grew up in a fatherless household. Those jeering words once made Da-rim want to give up, feeling like she was nothing more than a superfluous person in the human world. Unlike her, Ji-hyuk was much more excited because he had a wonderful life. He went to the beach to cheer himself up and find some motivation. Unexpectedly, the scene of Ji-hyuk being self-satisfied made Da-rim think he was going to give up like her. So, with alcohol still in her system, she rushed forward and hugged him from behind, wanting to stop Ji-hyuk from giving up even though he wasn't. "Don't give up. I have no love, no money, and no father. But I'm still alive." At 28 years old, Ji-hyuk had never touched a woman. He panicked and tried to push her off, but Da-rim wouldn't stop. One person tried to stop the other, and both were determined. Seeing Da-rim about to fall, Ji-hyuk rushed to catch her, and as a result, the two rolled to the ground. While catching Da-rim, Ji-hyuk also suffered a minor injury to his hand. Looking at the woman who was drunk and sleeping like a log, he just felt annoyed. Suddenly, Da-rim said, "Mister, don't die. You're so handsome, dying would be a waste of the nation's resources." Hearing this, Ji-hyuk told the doctor to charge her later and quickly ran away. On the way back, he couldn't help but think, at least she has an eye for people. After Da-rim woke up, she learned that a stranger had made her pay all the hospital fees, and she only had 280.01 left. After paying off the debt, she would have only 10.01. A poor person was tricked into a trip by her younger sister and now has nothing left. Because she didn't have money for a taxi, Da-rim could only walk back to the hotel after meeting her ex-boyfriend who mocked her and then a handsome, unlucky guy. She was so tired that she slept soundly until morning without eating or drinking anything. Because she was a bit hungry, and the hotel her younger sister booked had free breakfast, Da-rim couldn't miss out on this bargain. However, the scene before her made her face turn pale. It wasn't the two men holding hands, but the playboy who made her pay his hospital bill. Da-rim didn't say a word and sat down in front of him, thinking that life was really simple. Ji-hyuk immediately recognized the person in front of him as the woman who praised him for being handsome at the hospital, but the appearance of Kim Dong-gon attracted his attention more. He didn't want to lose the collaboration with him, the person he had been hunting for the Dubai tycoon for so long. However, a moment later, Dong-gon and Sujin came towards him because they heard the argument. Da-rim was muttering a lot of words, and seeing them, she suddenly felt nervous. She relied on Ji-hyuk, forcing him to be her pretend boyfriend. Ji-hyuk was an intelligent person, and seeing the strange look between the two, he knew for sure there was a connection. He had no choice but to pretend to be Da-rim's boyfriend, and even acted affectionately. Just like that, the four of them appeared at a table in a fancy restaurant. Ji-hyuk confidently and coolly introduced himself to Dong-gon, saying that he had been in love with Da-rim for a while. When asked about the injury on his hand, he didn't hesitate to say it was because of his girlfriend. He was willing to sacrifice his body to protect her. "By the way, if Mr. Kim is free, please come to the party tonight." Through the dull eyes of his ex-girlfriend, Dong-gon knew for sure she was just acting, and a satisfied smile appeared on his face. When they got into the elevator, the two also pressed the wrong floor. Ji-hyuk quickly diffused the situation, saying, "Why are you pressing the 5th floor out of habit again? I know you miss me, but you don't need to rush back to our apartment so quickly." Just like that, she was swept up in the act, becoming Ji-hyuk's pretend girlfriend. Since they were acting, they might as well go all the way. Ji-hyuk made plans to meet the other two that evening, then dragged her straight into the hotel room he was renting. As soon as the door closed, the two immediately changed their expressions. But Ji-hyuk said that she was the one who started it first. She needed someone to fool her ex-boyfriend, and he needed Dong-gon for the tycoon. Ji-hyuk made an offer. If she just pretended to be his girlfriend for the rest of the day, he would pay back the hospital fees from before, 10 times over. Hearing this, a poor person like Da-rim immediately agreed. However, as his girlfriend, she couldn't dress like a country bumpkin. Ji-hyuk led Da-rim to a high-end dress shop, where everything cost millions or even tens of millions of won. Someone who always wore bargain bin clothes like Da-rim couldn't afford it, so she pulled Ji-hyuk out of the shop, feeling a bit embarrassed. Outside, Ji-hyuk explained to her that this was his investment, and he couldn't let her dress sloppily. This remark made Da-rim feel inferior and remember what her ex-boyfriend said. She remembered being criticized for being like a wilted spinach, so she got angry and sulked. Before he could understand what was going on, he suddenly saw a mother drop her things. She quickly went to pick them up for her, but didn't forget to mock Ji-hyuk a few times, arguing that if she's going to be his girlfriend, she has to be fancy. Well, you can't insult me by calling me sloppy. The two of them looked no different from a real couple. However, Da-rim happily and kindly helping the woman, Ji-hyuk's eyes were suddenly drawn to her. He humbled himself and apologized. It's just that I have a bit of ambition, wanting my girlfriend to be better than my ex and the most beautiful. I apologize. Da-rim didn't know what to say, and only gave him an orange. Then, Ji-hyuk led her to a high-end dress shop. The dazzling black card made the employees envious. After that, he even chose a new hairstyle for Da-rim. She was like someone who could only sit still and endure under the pressure of money. After some touching up, Ji-hyuk looked at Da-rim like Cinderella descending the stairs. He couldn't help but exclaim, "Truly a goddess!" But he was a goddess, not that Da-rim was as beautiful as a goddess. Someone with scary high standards indeed. He then put an expensive diamond ring on Da-rim's finger, making her feel like she was being proposed to directly. The four eyes looked at each other, filled with emotion. At the cocktail party, Da-rim nervously downed a glass to regain her spirit. Seeing this, Ji-hyuk came to her side and held her hand like a considerate boyfriend. Then, the two of them walked and reviewed things about each other to say in front of the other two. When Dong-gon saw Da-rim dressed extravagantly, completely different from the wilted spinach of the past, his eyes widened and he felt jealous. He couldn't help but admit that she looked beautiful today. Seeing her ex-boyfriend, Da-rim, as expected, turned on her sassy mode. "So, I used to be criticized by my ex-boyfriend for being wilted spinach. That person must be a genuine idiot, right?" Ji-hyuk added. He didn't see her true value. "As a result, I got a bargain, which is Da-rim. It's just that she didn't want to dress up before." He then introduced his profession as someone who finds talent for large companies, wanting to invite Dong-gon to work for him. Hearing this, Dong-gon showed disdain, thinking he was just a multi-level marketer, and left. But Da-rim regained face for Ji-hyuk. "I wonder how much your company is worth." Hearing Ji-hyuk say probably around 200 or 300 billion won, the other two flipped their faces like pancakes and turned back to ask for more information. Ji-hyuk started to act and picked up a glass of wine. Nitric acid and sulfuric acid are inherently dangerous substances, but when combined, they become explosives. As for discovering talents and combining them with leading companies, I am the leader in the talent search industry. That self-satisfied and confident expression must have made Dong-gon lose a lot of face. Because the atmosphere was a bit suffocating, Da-rim went outside to take a breath and calm down. But when she returned, her ex-boyfriend blocked her path. "You and that guy have nothing going on, right? Many people use my old school, hometown, and relatives to approach me. I've seen through these tricks a long time ago. This is the first time someone has used an ex-girlfriend. It's quite creative." Da-rim retorted. "You must think you're the center of the universe. Everyone is at your feet, huh? I and him are together because we truly love each other. And now, I don't use pathetic eyes to chase after people anymore. It's just because I'm loved." That sentence was like a punch to Dong-gon's face. He was extremely bitter but couldn't do anything. To verify their true identities, Dong insisted on not letting it go and asked how they met. Had they met each other's families? Ji-hyuk said that he was attracted to Da-rim's personality. "If I were to tell you how much I love her, I think it would take all night." As for family, Ji-hyuk said he had met both her mother and father. Dong was about to gloat because Da-rim's father had passed away a long time ago, but all his doubts were immediately extinguished when Ji-hyuk said, "It's a pity that I could only see her father through a memorial photo." He remembered Da-rim's words, "I have no money, no love, and no father," when she thought he was going to give up. Just like that, the jealousy in Dong-gon's heart was revealed. When Da-rim pulled Ji-hyuk outside because she was afraid that more questions would expose them, she was extremely worried. But Ji-hyuk was still very confident. While the two were discussing more information, Dong-gon came out. To avoid being discovered, the two pretended to be lovers. Da-rim immediately hugged Ji-hyuk and gave him an explosive kiss. Seeing this, her ex-boyfriend felt a lump of anger in his chest, but Ji-hyuk was thrown into a frenzy by that kiss. "Hey, do that again from before." Then the two of them stuck together, exchanging a second explosive kiss, with fireworks shooting fiercely from behind. After kissing, Da-rim quickly ran elsewhere because she was too embarrassed, not knowing if what she had just done was right or wrong. Should she run away? As for Ji-hyuk, he was no different from her. Losing his first kiss made his hands and feet tremble, and he couldn't hold the wine glass steady. Dong-gon saw this scene and was certain that these two were acting in front of him when suddenly dance music started playing. Because they were still a bit flustered after the kiss, Da-rim and Ji-hyuk were a little awkward. Unfortunately, once you're committed, you have to see it through. The two of them went to the center of the hall and started dancing together. Dong-gon's eyes kept darting towards them. Ji-hyuk was sure that he also suspected him. He was determined to play this role perfectly. So, the two of them swayed to the waltz music. Fake love felt like real love. Their loving glances and coordinated steps looked no different from a real couple. After dancing, Da-rim's head was filled with that tall and broad-shouldered figure. She unconsciously smiled for a moment when her ex-boyfriend appeared and handed her a bottle of water. He had determined that Da-rim and Ji-hyuk were just contracted actors. Seeing his ex-girlfriend kissing someone else made Dong-gon's blood boil. "I've already booked a hotel. For the sake of our past relationship, let's spend the night together." It was unexpected for this guy to be so delusional after gaining some fame. Da-rim didn't want to, but he kept pushing, resulting in Ji-hyuk seeing it and punching him, causing his mouth to bleed. He thought he was still the elite class, thinking Ji-hyuk was nothing, but he was wrong. In the industry, with just a flick of his hand, Dong-gon was nothing. He then pulled Da-rim outside, ignoring the other guy fuming, to thank her benefactor. Da-rim bandaged Ji-hyuk with her scarf. However, she still felt sorry for her ex-boyfriend. Ji-hyuk asked if that was real love or if she just mistook it for love. Da-rim said that for her, love was real, but some people couldn't keep it until the end. Da-rim's words increasingly intrigued Ji-hyuk. He unconsciously looked at her as she happily watched the luminous mayflies in front of her, like Cinderella in an evening gown playing in front of the real prince. Ji-hyuk was certain that he wanted this woman. No one had ever made him so moved. So, he made a proposal, wanting Da-rim to stay with him for another day, thinking he had another client to court. But Ji-hyuk wanted to go on a real date with Da-rim, and the two reached a further agreement. That night, Da-rim couldn't believe her eyes, and Ji-hyuk was like a person who had lost his soul. He went online to find out how to kiss properly and lay there absent-minded until his assistant called to ask about the work situation. He didn't care about work, his mind was full of her. Ji-hyuk asked his younger brother how to kiss properly. His younger brother was a bit dumbfounded. What about the company? All Ji-hyuk cared about now was the woman. He didn't need that Dong-gon guy. The next day, according to their agreement, Ji-hyuk and Da-rim went on a date like a real couple. They rode bikes together, and then went for some snacks, with Ji-hyuk acting quite chivalrous. Seeing that she had food on her lip, he subtly wiped it off for her. After the meal, the two walked together in a field of canola flowers. Ji-hyuk wanted to hold Da-rim's hand. He even stopped, intending to express his feelings, but hesitated and didn't dare until they reached a familiar tree with Da-rim. She said it was like the grandfather tree in her neighborhood. "I often come under this tree near my house to eat ice cream whenever I'm sad. There's an ice cream shop nearby that I really like." As she spoke, Da-rim searched under the ground. She found a 4-leaf clover and immediately showed it to Ji-hyuk. "Seeing this clover represents the luck in my life, and you, Ji-hyuk, are that luck." Hearing these words, Ji-hyuk became even more certain that he loved Da-rim from the bottom of his heart. To give them privacy, Ji-hyuk rented a yacht and sailed out to sea. Da-rim was a bit embarrassed by this extravagant spending, worried that he would be reprimanded by his company. Ji-hyuk was surprised and asked, "What company?" "I'm the owner. I don't work for any company." Hearing this, she realized he was right. He swiped his black card without sparing any expense. His handsome demeanor like a president. Being praised by the person he loved made Ji-hyuk's face show pride. He was the type of narcissist who was always confident in himself. But indeed, Ji-hyuk really had the ability to do so. Later, Ji-hyuk pulled Da-rim up to watch dolphins with him, but she tripped and fell into the sea. Ji-hyuk didn't think much and jumped in to save her. Moments after saving Da-rim to the shore, the two couldn't resist the attraction and began to share intense, passionate kisses. But doing it in public here was a bit too revealing. The two had no choice but to pull each other back to Ji-hyuk's room and were ready for it. But as they were preparing to get down to business, Da-rim suddenly remembered that both of them hadn't showered since falling into the sea. She wanted them both to shower first because she preferred cleanliness. Although a bit reluctant, Ji-hyuk listened to Da-rim and went to shower first. Da-rim was excited because of the man, but didn't know what was happening back home. Her sister's wedding with her groom was encountering an accident. The groom in the rumors with a good reputation from a noble family was actually a guy addicted to gambling and stocks. As a result, he was left with nothing, and was even visited by a mob boss at the wedding to collect the debt. If he didn't have the money to pay, the groom would have to pay with his organs. Hearing this, Da-rim's sister's fiancé hurriedly went to find his wife. Da-jung saw her husband hastily take the congratulatory money and run away, not understanding what was happening, only seeing that it didn't seem like a good thing. The gangsters, unable to find the groom Minuk who borrowed the money, had no choice but to take Da-rim's mother hostage and threaten her. After she opened her phone, she learned that her daughter had run away with her debt-ridden husband. Da-rim's mother had a heart attack. The close friend who was always by her mother's side called Da-rim to inform her, causing her to panic and leave Ji-hyuk in the lonely room. It had been a long time since Ji-hyuk had loved someone at first sight. He hurriedly went to call Da-rim in her room but didn't receive any response. A moment later, he only saw her hastily running somewhere. Because he had fallen too deeply, Ji-hyuk, without thinking, rushed after her to find an explanation. But the two repeatedly passed each other's lives, hurting each other without meeting, as if the two's lives were parallel without any intersection. not meeting each other even once despite passing by. Until Da-rim arrived at the hospital, her close friend told her everything that had happened at the wedding and her mother's condition. Hearing the news that her mother had a heart attack, she could only blame herself for being incompetent and burst into tears. Meanwhile, from the moment Ji-hyuk lost track of the person he loved, his younger brother called to ask about the progress of finding someone for the Dubai company. He had already told the partner everything, but now what he was more concerned about was the fleeting love interest of just recently. Ji-hyuk suddenly remembered that Da-rim had mentioned that around her house there was a large grandfather tree, and she often sat under the shade of that tree eating ice cream, so he hurriedly went to find it. For a strange woman he just met. If Ji-hyuk wasn't the one, then it would be no one else. Like a lovelorn person, he began planning to find information about Da-rim. And Da-rim, from the moment she knew the hospital fees for her mother were extremely high, without enough money over 10 million won the hospital would not perform surgery, walked slowly on the road home, looking at the bleak future, not knowing what to do to help her mother maintain her life. Her life was already hard, but it was even harder because of her younger sister, only wishing that her father was still alive to comfort her. Even worse news came when she arrived home. Her sister had sold their house because of her husband. The people from the bank had sent people to recover the debt and mortgaged assets. Da-rim had completely collapsed at this time, calling her younger sister to blame her for how she could have taken the house. All because of her sister's flamboyant boyfriend, completely trusting in his so-called stock market investments to get rich. But now it was all a big zero. To pay off the debt and hospital fees for her mother, Da-rim listed everything that could be sold, even the ring given by the one-day lover without a word of goodbye. She felt a bit heartbroken but had no other choice. For 3 days, Da-rim worked as a part-time employee. At night, she worked as a delivery person just to earn money for her mother's surgery. She didn't know that somewhere out there, the one-day lover was diligently searching for her. Places with grandfather trees and familiar cafes, Ji-hyuk was present. He was happy to find a place identical to Da-rim's words from morning to night just to meet the person he loved. But even so, he didn't meet her all day. Until he got home, his assistant brother told him he was really stubborn. What to do now that Ji-hyuk was caught by the explosive kiss, like the catalysis of 2 types of acid combined? His brother saw that his brother hadn't been this infatuated for a long time, and helped him out. But one person tells and another person draws, resulting in nothing. However, at this time, a food delivery order was brought in. Da-rim stood in front of Ji-hyuk, but he couldn't see her. Just like that, they passed each other's lives to hurt each other. The next day, while continuing to look for Da-rim, Ji-hyuk suddenly received news that his mother had been brought home by his father to create a happy family scene in front of reporters. Briefly about Ji-hyuk's family, his father and mother had reached the point of ending and breaking up. His mother had to go for psychological treatment because of long-term mental abuse. However, Ji-hyuk's father didn't care, only wanting to pretend in front of reporters to gain business benefits. Ji-hyuk didn't want his mother to be dragged out as a tool to make money for his father's pretense. He made a deal with him. As long as you break up with my mother, Ji-hyuk will listen to all arrangements without resistance. His father laughed gleefully at this. Ji-hyuk was a talented child and a tool for business marriage with partners, so he didn't refuse at all. Bringing him back to the company to take on a new position, Ji-hyuk's family also had a cruel older sister. This sister, knowing that her younger brother was about to come to the company, sought to make things difficult. Right at that moment, a woman came to apply for a job, but her resume was not good. The sister then came up with an idea to torment her younger brother. She called her assistant into her private office, telling him to find women with bad reputations in their work history, especially with young children under 6 years old and unemployed, the better. She wanted a team of all these people to hand over to her younger brother. She had to torment Ji-hyuk for a good show to be satisfied because she didn't like him at all. Meanwhile, Da-rim was quite troubled by the hospital fees. Her close friend Sun Yu offered to help. If I sell my studio and take out the deposit, it would probably be enough to pay your hospital fees. Da-rim didn't want that. Sun Yu was a single father and had to raise his son named Jun, who was only a few years old. No matter how difficult it was, Da-rim wanted to find a job to do more. Although she said that, what company would accept a nearly 30-year-old woman who had never worked like her? However, thanks to a life-saving search, she found a job posting that required no qualifications or experience. Especially those with children under 6 years old were welcomed, attracted Da-rim. She met all the conditions. Having a child under 6 years old, she thought it would be okay to use her friend's name. Just like that thought motivated Da-rim to apply immediately. Her resume was transferred in front of Ji-hyuk's sister. Apart from having given birth and raised a child, Da-rim lied. The sister felt that this woman was perfect to torment her younger brother. After handing over the resume to her younger brother, Ji-hyuk dejectedly said that whatever she wanted was fine. His mind was only on that woman and didn't know that fate would make the two meet again. On the day of the interview, Da-rim was extremely worried, not knowing if the past would repeat itself, but for her family, she mustered up all her courage and stepped inside. Initially, Ji-hyuk didn't waver at all, only drawing the 4-leaf clover Da-rim had given him. But when he heard the familiar voice and the name being introduced, His eyes changed and unconsciously looked towards the source of the voice. She worried that she would get into trouble. But when she thought about her mother still lying in the hospital needing medical fees, she mustered all her courage to step into the interview for the mothers. Luckily, Ji-hyuk needed to use the restroom, so the two didn't find themselves in an awkward situation of meeting and then feeling embarrassed. In fact, Ji-hyuk didn't have any interest in the interview for the team he was preparing to manage. Meanwhile, Da-rim was extremely nervous when asked why she was already 28 years old and had no experience at all. Da-rim's mind began to race, telling the interviewer, "I am indeed a blank sheet of paper with no experience, no prejudice or skills, but wouldn't the company be able to draw whatever they want on that blank sheet of paper?" The interview answer, like a nervous person, was truly the talent Ji-hyuk's sister was looking for, and she immediately accepted her. Ji-hyuk, after leaving the company, went to the gym. His future love interest, arranged by his father, was also there. On one hand, appearing lovely and saying to Ji-hyuk, "I am very possessive. I don't want others to look at the person I like." Hearing this, Ji-hyuk left to drink water, appearing not to care about any of these things. But when he heard his marriage partner express that she liked him very much, he remembered that he had met many people in the upper class, but they all talked about boring stock market businesses. Only people like Ji-hyuk gave her a sense of explosion. This suddenly made him recall the emotions of that night on Jeju Island. "Sorry, but I only see our marriage as a contract." That night, in front of the grandfather tree near her house, Da-rim worriedly told her best friend that she didn't know if she would pass the interview. Her best friend didn't know how to comfort her. As they were preparing to invite Da-rim to their house for something to eat, a phone call came. It announced that Da-rim had been accepted into the company. She was overjoyed, jumping up and down. Now she had money to pay for her mother's hospital fees. On her first day of work, Da-rim was filled with burning enthusiasm. She had to work hard to not disappoint the company. But when she got inside, she discovered that her colleagues were housewives. One person and another competed for a piece of sweet potato with kimchi, and she thought this was a market. A moment later, the manager announced that the team leader had arrived. Da-rim and Ji-hyuk stood facing each other like old friends reunited. He didn't think that the woman he had been painstakingly searching for all this time would appear in front of him. What made him feel even more ironic was that in the meeting, everyone in front of him was a pregnant mother with a child under 6 years old coming to work. Hearing this, Ji-hyuk asked each person again to make sure what he was suspicious about was true. And Da-rim, in front of his sister, didn't dare say that she made things up, so she had to confirm that she was married with children. Hearing this, Ji-hyuk's mood was going crazy, laughing so loudly that his sister didn't understand why her younger brother was laughing. To avoid Ji-hyuk, Da-rim volunteered to get things for everyone. She didn't know why her luck was so bad. But as soon as she got downstairs, she bumped into Ji-hyuk. He decided to pull her up to the rooftop to ask for the truth about whether she had a husband and children. Everything she wrote in the job application was that she was a mother raising a young child. Ji-hyuk had read it all. He angrily asked why she had never said that she had a boyfriend. Well, at that time she said she had no love, no money, and no father. But she never said that she had no husband. This made Ji-hyuk even angrier. Already having a husband and children and still going around kissing a virgin like me. No wonder that day when we were about to get down to business, you ran away. You must have felt very guilty towards your husband and children, huh? To keep her job, Da-rim had no choice but to admit that all of his guesses were correct. After that, they returned to work. Da-rim was in a humble position and couldn't look Ji-hyuk in the eye. And he also bluntly declared, aiming at Da-rim, "No matter what everyone in this group tries to do, everything has nothing to do with me. Do whatever you want." Da-rim felt that her life was over. When work was over, Da-rim's distracted mood made everyone curious. They planned to invite her to eat, but she refused. Turning around, she caught Ji-hyuk's hateful gaze. Helpless, Da-rim could only call him out. "Please, just consider everything before as me. I'll accept it all. Just hope you can let me work." Ji-hyuk didn't agree. On the contrary, he asked Da-rim to resign, hand in the resignation letter to him before tomorrow morning. Da-rim hurriedly ran up to pull him, knowing how angry he was. "But I need this job." Ji-hyuk at this time spoke out all the repression he had endured for so long. "Do you know how hard I worked to find you? But the person I'm looking for is like manipulating me." Being treated like a joke by others was what Ji-hyuk hated most. After venting his anger, he left to drink alcohol, thinking back to the fact that he had hugged and kissed passionately and had feelings for someone who had a family. This was something extremely wrong and offensive to him. Although he had drunk alcohol to try to forget that image, no matter how much he drank, Ji-hyuk couldn't forget. That night at home, Da-rim held the resignation letter in her hand and thought for a while. Behind her was a mother who was sick. At this moment, what did she need integrity and face for? Saying that, she tore up the letter, deciding to be shameless with Ji-hyuk the next day. Arriving at work, as she predicted, he didn't even glance at her. So, Da-rim had no choice but to shamelessly carry out Plan A, using a desperate plan to beg for her to be allowed to work. Then, she told the difficulties she encountered, the things that happened between the two of them, Just consider it an accident and let it all go. Hearing that her kiss was considered an accident and let go, Ji Hyuk felt that this woman had a very comfortable life motto, treating his first kiss as a cheap thing. The more she talked, the more wrong she was, saying every sentence that made Ji Hyuk's blood boil. Your existence really makes me feel uncomfortable. What? If you block my path, don't even think about it. Darim couldn't hold back anymore and started to fire back. If you fire me, I'll make a scene because I got fired just for a kiss on Jeju Island. Are you going to use that reason? Ji Hyuk was the type who either didn't love anyone or got involved with a difficult woman. Throughout that day's meeting, Darim's words kept ringing in his ears, and he didn't have the heart to have any meetings at all. This made the baby bottle production team extremely worried. If Ji Hyuk didn't let them do it, who would test the baby bottle product for 5 days? Hearing this, Ji Hyuk seemed to have found gold. He immediately thought of a way to torment that difficult girl. The very next day, Darim was summoned to a desolate and remote place, just to test the baby bottle product. Immerse it in hot water for 30 seconds. Repeat every 30 minutes, for a total of 180 times. If she didn't finish it, check and report the quality. She would be fired immediately. Darim was extremely upset, but if she didn't do it, she wouldn't have money to pay for her mother's hospital fees. She had no choice but to grit her teeth and endure the unreasonable demands from that clueless president, also not forgetting to say that he was really a vengeful person, considering playing a few games of ping pong with strangers was enough. Hearing that, Ji Hyuk turned around. So, do you want to play ping pong with me a few more times? It was like he hated it on the surface, but inside he was addicted to kissing like crazy. That night when he got home, he just drank water to relieve his anger. But the anger couldn't subside. Who would ever compare a kiss to playing ping pong? Meanwhile, Darim, in order to keep her job, meticulously checked the quality of the baby bottles day after day. She didn't even dare to sleep, afraid of slowing down the progress. Let's see if I win or you win. After 5 tiring days of work, Darim sent the statistics back to Ji Hyuk without knowing that he was on his way here. When he arrived, Ji Hyuk saw the tent of the person he loved on fire, and suddenly felt uneasy. He used all his strength to try to put out the fire in the tent, thinking he had lost his first love. But suddenly Darim appeared from somewhere carrying a fire extinguisher. Ji Hyuk unconsciously hugged her tightly as if he had just found the whole world again. When he heard the sentence, "Are you worried about me?" Well, I don't know anything. Nowadays, labor compensation is very high. But remembering the things that Darim had done to him, Ji Hyuk immediately flipped his face and didn't bother to talk to her. Even the phone he used to put the 4-leaf clover that Darim found behind the back cover. Ji Hyuk decided not to let this mixed emotion make him suffer again. Even though he was the one who threw that 4-leaf clover away, why did his heart feel so much pain? After returning to headquarters, they learned that the person who caused the fire last night was Ji Hyuk's sister's person, and Ji Hyuk after that incident didn't want to go to the company to work anymore. Darim thought Ji Hyuk was sick. A new colleague approached her and told her that the team leader was the chairman's son. This group was set up just for him to get acquainted with the work of the company. That's what some cleaning ladies gossip. Whether this group exists or not doesn't affect Ji Hyuk. Meanwhile, Ji Hyuk was at the hospital visiting his mother. His mother originally suffered from psychological illness due to his father, the chairman, so she lived a very hard life. She always saw him in the image of his father in intelligence, but Ji Hyuk told his mother that he liked to be like her more. Hearing that, his mother retorted, she didn't want her son to live in hardship and suffering for love like her. So it's better to have a separate happiness. The next day at work, Darim found that no one had any mood to do anything else. Anyway, the team leader didn't care, so working was meaningless. Darim still didn't want to give up because of the bond with her mother's hospital fees. She immediately motivated everyone's spirit. Even without the team leader here, it doesn't mean we will give up. Instead, we will prove our value to the company. Those who bring profits to the company will never be eliminated. Hearing that, the pregnant mothers had the urge to work again, starting to work on researching and statistically analyzing the data for the baby bottles. Even the assistant who worked with Ji Hyuk had to admire everyone's diligence. Day after day of tiring work, the team of stay-at-home moms finally completed the evaluation of data for the company's new product. Now they just needed to bring it to Ji Hyuk for approval to complete everything. Ji Hyuk's younger brother was about to take it, when suddenly there was a call that he needed to go to a meeting urgently. Unable to let everyone's efforts go to waste, Darim decided to bring it to him alone. Meanwhile, that president was still obsessed with everything about Darim. Even if he went swimming to forget that obsession, everything was still too clear. Not to mention that he hadn't been swimming for long, the familiar figure stood in front of him, making him feel extremely frustrated. He thought Darim came here to use dirty tricks to achieve her goals, including kissing other people. Darim, despite being defamed as unconscionable, agreed with what Ji Hyuk said and wanted to do even more. Just because the stay-at-home moms on her team also needed to survive, so even if she had to kneel down and beg Ji Hyuk to sign the approval, she would accept it. But Ji Hyuk completely despised her, throwing all the efforts of the group straight into the pool. Darim couldn't watch the efforts just flow into the sea, and immediately rushed into the cold water just to save her livelihood. Because the water level was too deep, she gradually couldn't surface to breathe. In the end, Ji Hyuk couldn't hold back and jumped down to save the person he hated the most. After pulling Da-rim ashore, Ji Hyuk asked if this stupid paper was worth it. Da-rim only knew that she wanted to live and would live. Not only these papers but also the livelihoods of the people who made them. She didn't want him to throw them away, as if they were nothing. After leaving not long ago, Ji Hyuk felt sorry and was afraid that Da-rim was cold, so he pulled her into the car. He even subtly took off his coat and put it on her, afraid that she would be cold. Throughout the journey home, Ji Hyuk remained difficult, asking her to present what she had prepared. But his eyes noticed that her clothes were still soaking wet from falling into the pool. Anyone who saw the actions he made knew how much he loved Da-rim. After arriving home, Ji Hyuk only told her a few things, like how to present in the most attractive and sexy way, so that people who picked up the report would only want to continue reading. Then he pulled out his report and told her to follow. Da-rim quickly took notes of everything he said, praising him while writing, "No wonder you're a professional." Ji Hyuk's face clearly showed pride. Being praised, he was happy to the blue sky. "Okay, I have to go now. See you tomorrow." Ji Hyuk hadn't gone far when Da-rim was called back by the mobsters asking her if she was the owner of the house here. Ji Hyuk on the way home suddenly realized that Da-rim had forgotten her phone, so he hurriedly turned back to return it to her. And Da-rim on this side said that she was only a tenant upstairs. The owner had long flown abroad to live, and she didn't know anything. Hearing that, the gangster turned around and beat his younger brother. "I told you to go and collect the money earlier, you didn't listen." Indeed, Da-rim's thick skin and confidence had helped her successfully fool the debt collectors. But the nuisance Ji Hyuk appeared and called Da-rim's name. She quickly signaled him not to call her, but he called even louder. As a result, the mobsters realized that they had been deceived, and immediately chased after Da-rim to collect the debt. Ji Hyuk stood on the side, not understanding anything, and was also dragged along. A guy who has been exercising for so long can't run as fast as the debtor. Just as Da-rim's best friend saw this scene, he also hurriedly chased after the two. Reaching a section of the road, Ji Hyuk hadn't had time to breathe when he was dragged away, but Da-rim accidentally twisted her ankle. In a dangerous situation, fortunately Ji Hyuk was quick-witted and pulled her to hide in a closet nearby. When the debt collector saw this place, he also began to suspect whether the two were hiding inside. Da-rim's best friend, in order to distract them, hurriedly shouted her name loudly, thereby making the two in the narrow space not dare to breathe, and only then did they breathe a sigh of relief. In the space where it was difficult to breathe, Ji Hyuk and Da-rim hadn't had time to be affectionate when the best friend opened the door and saw everything. He intended to rush in to protect her but was pushed out by Ji Hyuk. "Hey, who are you? I'm her boss. And who are you? I'm her husband." A very intense greeting made Ji Hyuk angry enough to chase monkeys up a mountain. But seeing the two so close, Ji Hyuk wondered why these two could have any conflicts. What made Da-rim come to Jeju Island to travel alone? But thinking about it, seeing the two so close, he was very jealous. At home, he was still annoyed about my Da-rim. All the words he monologued were heard clearly by his younger brother. "You must be annoyed at that young mom again. Don't tell me you're jealous, okay?" Hearing this, Ji Hyuk burst out laughing. Could it be that I'm going to be jealous of someone's husband? Well, his face clearly showed that he was jealous. After his younger brother finished speaking, he felt very annoyed but couldn't do anything. He was too right. He couldn't argue. Because he was chased by debt collectors last night, Ji Hyuk was lazy and didn't want to get out of bed at all. But thinking about the fact that Da-rim had a meeting with him at the company, he prepared everything and came to the company to see the report. Unexpectedly, Da-rim in front of him said that she had stayed up all night to make it as sexy and attractive as possible, causing Ji Hyuk to mistakenly believe that she was wearing gorgeous clothes to seduce him. Da-rim didn't understand anything, recalling that yesterday he had asked me to make the report like that. Ji Hyuk was really in love, so every sentence he was delusional about himself. "You should have said it from the beginning so I wouldn't misunderstand." "Well, let's take out our anger on the world. Seeing your husband was still healthy yesterday only made me more annoyed. Hand in your resignation letter." Today, Sun Yu had a photo shoot with Ha Rang. Just as she was decorating, she accidentally slipped and fell down. Sun Yu luckily caught her like a princess and immediately caused Ha Rang to be struck by the lightning of love. Today, he came to meet her to discuss the photo shoot. But throughout the negotiation process, Ha Rang only paid attention to Sun Yu's eyes, nose, and lips. Her soul seemed to be stolen by him. She even blurted out how handsome he was today. Suddenly, Ha Rang's mother walked in from outside, saying that the photo shoot had been cancelled. Ha Rang worriedly pulled her mother outside to ask why it was cancelled. Her mother told her that if it was cancelled, it was cancelled. Not to mention, why did you invite a photographer with no reputation at all? Hearing this made Sun Yu know that he was not welcome here. It seemed that his business with her was over here. And Ji Hyuk's sister kept tattling to their father about her younger brother. However, the results that Ji Hyuk produced made him quite satisfied. When Ji Hyuk walked in to meet his father, he turned around and blamed him for not coming to the company lately. Ji Hyuk didn't care whether he took time off or not. He only needed to know that he had completed the work. Didn't Dad also use my marriage to achieve the purpose of cooperation? There's no need to care about the process, as long as I say I can do it, unlike someone. In front of his father, he had no fear at all, but when he heard the hospital call to say that his mother had broken her leg, he was extremely worried and ran back to the hospital to see what his mother's situation was like. Other than his mother, Ji-hyuk didn't respect anyone else. Seeing his mother like this, he was extremely scared. Originally, this incident made him so obsessed because when he was a child, Ji-hyuk's father had an affair and brought the child of his mistress home. This had caused his mother to suffer a psychological shock, and his father married his mother only to help his mother's family not go bankrupt. Just like that, in Ji-hyuk's house, there was an older sister. To make his mother happy, Ji-hyuk tried to do everything as best as he could until he saw his mother try to commit suicide. He was worried about his mother. He was always afraid that his mother would do something foolish again. Today, Da-rim also came to the hospital to visit her mother. Coincidentally, the two met Ji-hyuk. Da-rim's mother saw her daughter's boss. Her face immediately brightened, wanting to stand up to thank him for helping her daughter over the past time. She rubbed her hands and praised him as a good boss. If she knew that this boss was jealous and angry and tormenting her child, she would probably have a heart attack again. A moment later, the two sat together, and Da-rim told the reason why her mother was taken to the hospital. Her younger sister borrowed money from mobsters and mortgaged the house. Her mother had a heart attack and was hospitalized because of it. To treat her mother's surgery, Da-rim had to try to keep her current job. When he heard the news that she was in debt and her mother was injured, she felt nauseous and something uncomfortable. Ji-hyuk guessed that she must feel like she was falling into the abyss, right? He could understand to some extent, also because his mother had also been like that. The compassion for Da-rim in Ji-hyuk seemed to arise. He currently felt more pity for her than reprehensible. By the way, Da-rim wanted him to be able to help her and everyone keep their jobs in the next 6 months. Recalling that he was a bit too much with the survival that Da-rim had to humble herself to, Da-rim also told him not to use that kiss to oppress her anymore. Indeed, Ji-hyuk felt that he had been a bit too much in the recent incident. So basically, all the difficulties with Da-rim had gone away in part. At Sun Yu's photoshop, Ha-rang hadn't given up on pursuing the person she liked. But what surprised her was that he had a child, and was now preparing to pick up his child. The shocking news caused her mood to be extinguished. However, Ha-rang still didn't give up. At the time, a customer stopped by making it impossible for Sun Yu to pick up his child. Ha-rang saw that and immediately volunteered to go along. Helpless, he had no choice but to reluctantly agree. After arriving to pick up baby Jun, his classmates all marveled and admired, not expecting their friend to have such a beautiful and young relative. On the way back, baby Jun couldn't help but peek at her several times. Indeed, she was too beautiful. When baby Jun was asked if he thought he was beautiful like his dad or his mom, baby Jun said that he was probably more like his dad because he had never seen his mother since he was little. Hearing that, Ha-rang was a little curious, asking out of curiosity only to find out that these two fathers and sons didn't have a mother or wife by their side, further making her believe that she would win the heart of Sun Yu. The next day, at the company, to make things difficult for Ji-hyuk, his sister asked her assistant to organize a live stream sale of baby products and forced the entire team to participate. With a team that had never had any experience like this, Ji-hyuk's sister would surely achieve her wish of making her younger brother lose face. Despite not having any experience, Da-rim and everyone were extremely excited, and they had to overcome this live stream no matter how difficult it was. Because they needed things for the sale, Da-rim and Ji-hyuk went to the supermarket to buy some items. Arriving at the supermarket selling baby items, Da-rim asked Ji-hyuk which pair was more beautiful. The employee who looked and thought the two were a married couple. And Ji-hyuk immediately retorted, "She and I are just superiors and subordinates, nothing more." After shopping, the two suddenly saw a couple pairing program for husbands and wives. The reward was the latest milk powder machine that Da-rim and the team were looking for. Ji-hyuk didn't want to get involved in unnecessary trouble. But when he saw Da-rim begging, Ji-hyuk froze for 5 years because her begging expression looked so cute and irresistible. Helpless, he could only play the role of a fake husband for Da-rim to participate in the challenge game. Each couple would stand together on a sheet of newspaper. Only the couple that lasted the longest would win the milk powder machine. As the newspaper became smaller and smaller, Ji-hyuk picked Da-rim up without hesitation. "Let me show you my strength." However, Da-rim was the one who liked to increase the difficulty. She grabbed Ji-hyuk's hair so much that he almost dropped Da-rim. Unexpectedly, there was still a competitor. The two teams had to play a final game of passing paper with their mouths. Because Ji-hyuk was embarrassed to play, Da-rim took the initiative, and as a result kissed Ji-hyuk in a fiery and passionate kiss, making her heart shatter once again burn fiercely. Just yesterday, she didn't want to mention the kiss, but now it has arrived again. Da-rim was still sorry for not getting that milk powder machine for the sale. Ji-hyuk excused himself to leave for a while. His purpose was to go in front of the couple that won the game earlier and offer to buy their milk powder machine. At first, they didn't agree until Ji-hyuk pulled out his black card. "Whatever is difficult, I'll take care of it with money." Later, on the way back, Da-rim sat hugging the milk powder machine. happy like a child, marveling that the two people were really good people. Seeing the person he liked so happy, Ji-hyuk was also extremely pleased. But when the broadcast was about to end, two of his female colleagues, one was busy picking up her child, and the other encountered a bad problem, so they asked to leave first. Only Dae-rim and one female colleague remained. Helpless, Dae-rim had to participate in the broadcast. Because it was the first time on the air, the two were a bit awkward in front of the camera, but quickly regained their confidence, starting to introduce the company's products. After a while of introducing and answering questions, when it came time to prove that their product was good, the colleagues suddenly got a little emotional and left. Only Dae-rim had never changed a diaper for a baby. However, she tried to fumble around for a while and successfully fastened the diaper. But the result was that the water in the diaper overflowed, ruining the broadcast. Because of this, the next day she was immediately reprimanded by the manager of Ji-hyuk's sister. He didn't expect Ji-hyuk to come out from somewhere. What right do you have to blame my people? If there's blame, it's me, not your turn. After a tiring day of work, Dae-rim thought things were getting better, but in reality she still often encountered bad luck. People often say that poverty sticks to bad luck. She hadn't walked a few steps when she met the mobsters who demanded debt from the other day again. Without saying much, they immediately dragged her onto the limousine and drove her to a warehouse. And this scene was accidentally caught by Ji-hyuk. Seeing the person he loved being taken away, he remembered her saying that her younger sister had taken out a heavy loan. Ji-hyuk immediately realized that Dae-rim was in danger. He quickly drove to chase after Dae-rim. Even if he had to run red lights, he couldn't lose track of the person he loved. While Dae-rim was in despair, the mobsters demanded to sell her organs to get interest from 30 million to 300 million. Ji-hyuk powerfully kicked the door open. In his hand was a powerful black card with the motto, "Whatever is difficult, I'll take care of it with money." Ji-hyuk coolly threw the loan shark a powerful black card, declaring that he wanted to buy out Dae-rim. After swiping the card, the loan sharks finally agreed to let her go, but when he saw the wound on Dae-rim's wrist, Ji-hyuk went crazy and punched the loan shark straight in the face, forbidding them from now on to ever loiter in front of her again. At this time, Dae-rim was so scared that her legs went weak, so Ji-hyuk lifted her up in a princess carry, hugging her tightly in his arms full of protection. Seeing Ji-hyuk take Dae-rim home, Seon-woo showed his displeasure on his face. When he found out that team leader Ji-hyuk even stood up to pay off all of Dae-rim's debt, Seon-woo's jealousy flared up even more. On Ji-hyuk's side, the guy was at home wringing his hands, remembering the uncontrolled actions because he wanted to protect Dae-rim. He was restless, but suddenly remembering the time Dae-rim called him team leader, he reassured himself, Dae-rim is an employee, I'm the boss, I'm just doing the responsibility of a team leader. The next morning at work, the group of mothers were all worried. They were afraid that the livestream incident yesterday would be blown out of proportion and the whole group would be fired. Unexpectedly, Assistant Kang brought unexpected good news. Boss Ji-hyuk had cleaned up the battlefield completely. In fact, the bad-tempered older sister intended to take advantage of this opportunity to kick Ji-hyuk out. But the thicker the orange peel, the sharper the fingernails, Ji-hyuk had skillfully prepared all the data to counterattack. The analysis report clearly stated, after the live stream incident, the company's sales not only did not decline but also went viral all over the internet. Thanks to that accident, the product suddenly became a hot trend, receiving a shower of praise, and the marketing effect far exceeded expectations. Hearing the assistant explain, the group of mothers finally understood. It turned out that early in the morning, Ji-hyuk had come to the company to work hard to create this life-saving report. If it weren't for him, the whole team would have been doomed. Both grateful and apologetic, Dae-rim handed Ji-hyuk a promissory note. She promised to gradually pay off the huge amount of money that he had thrown at the loan sharks yesterday. Ji-hyuk generously waved away the matter of interest, but turned to question Dae-rim about her husband. He angrily scolded the husband for being so heartless and cold. His wife almost lost her life and he didn't even show his face. Having said that, Ji-hyuk turned on the domineering president mode, concluding with a sentence. Before paying off the debt, from head to toe Dae-rim is his person. He declared ownership of every part of her body, so that no one would be allowed to take her organs again. Dae-rim thought that the boss was just joking for fun. Who knew? He intended to do it for real. It turned out that possession here was meant in the literal sense, which was scary. Dae-rim was happily planning to eat a piece of sausage to ease her hunger when Ji-hyuk rushed over and snatched it away with the reason high in calories, too fat. Instead, he threw her a box of salad full of vegetables, looking dry and boring. Not yet finished with her calamities, while Dae-rim was going barefoot to clean up her belongings, Ji-hyuk seized the opportunity to confiscate her shoes. He forced her to wear a pair of acupressure massage slippers filled with pebbles. Walking on them was excruciating. Having to wear painful slippers was bad enough. Ji-hyuk also forbade her from taking the elevator, forcing her to climb the stairs to the office. Looking at the dozens of floors of stairs, Dae-rim just wanted to cry. She was truly being tormented. Today, Ji-hyuk led the stay-at-home mom squad to a dilapidated amusement park to weed. While working, the older women chatted enthusiastically. the hottest topic being the suffering they endured when giving birth. In high spirits, they turned to ask Da-rim how she felt when giving birth. Desperate, Da-rim had no choice but to make up a story on the spot. But how could making up a story fool the professionals? The older women began to feel that something was wrong. The way Da-rim told the story was like someone who had never raised a child. Putting it together with the livestream incident before, claiming to be a stay-at-home mom but clumsily not knowing how to change a diaper, everyone began to whisper, suspecting her true identity. Seeing the sister's suspicion, boss Ji Hyok's sharp eyes also immediately shone in this direction, causing Da-rim to sweat bullets, worrying and panicking about how to hide this tale. Fortunately, the sisterhood was the one who unintentionally rescued Da-rim. They interpreted it themselves and nodded in a firm judgment. Surely her husband spoils his wife to the sky. Small things like changing diapers or housework are probably all done by the husband, so the wife is so clumsy. Hearing that sentence, Ji Hyok stood beside her and felt jealousy rush to his brain. He pouted and mumbled a sentence, "Nonsense," and left. During a break, Da-rim happened to meet a woman holding a child. Her arm was injured and bandaged. Seeing this, she immediately rolled up her sleeves and helped change the baby's diaper extremely skillfully. Seeing this woman use a high-quality imported diaper, Da-rim struck up a conversation. The mother explained that this brand promised to allocate a portion of the profits to donate to environmental protection projects. She confided, "Since having a child, I've started to see how important environmental protection is. As a mother, who wouldn't want their child to live on a green, clean, beautiful land in the future?" Those heartfelt words were like a stone thrown into a calm lake, causing Da-rim to think vaguely. While strolling around, Da-rim suddenly discovered that under a large tree in the park there was a sign, on which Ji Hyok's name was clearly written. Memories flooded back. Ji Hyok realized that this was the tree that he and his mother had personally planted since he was very young. Knowing that the boss's mother was in the nursing home and couldn't go out, Da-rim quickly suggested, "How about you take a few photos checking in with this tree and bring them back for the aunt to see? She will definitely be very happy." Having Ji Hyok nod in agreement, Da-rim immediately showed her talent as a caring photographer. She made the cold president create all kinds of poses, from cute to acting like a fool. Under Da-rim's enthusiastic direction, Ji Hyok gradually shed his usual criminal face, becoming more comfortable and happier. At the peak of the moment, Ji Hyok suddenly screamed loudly, jumping up and down as if stung by an ant because he thought a bee had crawled into his collar. Da-rim hurriedly checked, and it turned out to be just a tiny ladybug. Discovering that the top boss who usually breathed fire was actually afraid of a tiny bug, Da-rim couldn't help but laugh hysterically. After that, the park manager sadly announced that this place was about to be sold. Da-rim heard and felt a pang of regret. A meaningful space with the theme of planting trees, connecting family and nature like this was now rare to find. If it was lost, the group of stay-at-home moms would definitely be sad. Da-rim's words touched Ji Hyok's heart, reminding him of his mother. His mother once had the same thought as Da-rim. She always hoped that her son would live in a world full of greenery and fresh air. That evening, Ji Hyok brought the photo taken with the tree to the hospital to show his mother, hoping that she would recover quickly. He promised himself that now is the time for him to fulfill his mother's unfinished dream, to personally create and protect a beautiful world for his mother. At the same time, Da-rim was also taking care of her mother at the hospital bedside. Through the bustling chatter of her colleagues today, she realized a truth. It turned out that childbirth was so terribly painful. But Da-rim's mother said that even if she had to endure the pain again, she would be willing, because the love she had for her daughter was boundless. The next morning at the company, the power struggle officially began. Ji Hyok and his older sister offered two completely different directions to upgrade the brand. Ji Hyok's father, currently the chairman, concluded, "Next week the two siblings must submit a detailed plan to compete." Hearing the news that they had to directly confront the professional marketing team, the stay-at-home mom squad immediately became scared, losing all their confidence. But Ji Hyok reassured them. The core of this project lies in genuine motherhood. That is something that marketing experts cannot copy. So you are the ones who hold the advantage. Meanwhile, the marketing team showed open contempt, looking down on Da-rim's group as just a bunch of old women weeding the garden. To regain honor for the sisters, Da-rim motivated the whole group, determined to prove to the opponent that there is no power in this world that can defeat a mother. Being buffed by Da-rim, the mothers worked enthusiastically day and night, finally squeezing out an excellent plan. To implement this project, Ji Hyuk needed to find a professional photographer. At that moment, the blind date girl Ha Young knew a young and talented photographer. In return, Ha Young stipulated that she must also be involved in this project. In an ironic twist of fate, the photographer that Ha Young introduced was Seon-woo, Da-rim's fake husband. Da-rim's heart skipped a beat, afraid that the fake couple act would be exposed. In contrast to his fake wife's worry, Seon-woo acted extremely deeply. He deliberately held Da-rim's hand tightly right in front of Ji Hyok to assert ownership. Knowing that Da-rim's husband was the photo partner this time, Ji Hyok became extremely jealous. Everyone in the group competed to praise Da-rim and Seon-woo for looking like a married couple. Seon-woo, riding the wave, even made up a tragic love story, like secretly admiring each other before making a romantic confession. Hearing those words, Ji Hyuk's heart ached, his face darkened. In another development, after a few encounters, the young lady Ha Young unknowingly fell for Seon-woo's bait. Seeing the tense situation, Seon-woo had to confess to Ha Young that he and Da-rim were just a fake couple, and asked her to keep it a secret. After confirming that Seon-woo and Da-rim were just friends, and more importantly that her crush was still single, Ha Young agreed to keep this matter secret, but with a condition: Seon-woo must help her take a set of first birthday party photos. After the photo shoot, Ha Young was even more immersed in Seon-woo's warmth and care. The girl then asked him to take another set of personal photos for her, time and location for him to choose. Late that night, at the park, the photo shoot for the Stay-at-Home Mom Squad project officially started. Witnessing Seon-woo and Da-rim working well together, and even being intimate in front of the camera, Ji Hyuk stood outside with jealousy seething, his face gloomy. In the evening, the group invited each other to a party. To protect the secret of the fake couple act, at the drinking table, Seon-woo acted extremely deep. The guy took care of Da-rim every inch, picking up food, wiping her mouth very carefully. Da-rim was no exception. She even deliberately called Seon-woo darling sweetly. Seeing the two of them blatantly flirt right in front of him, Ji Hyuk wanted to explode but still had to grit his teeth and suppress the madness in his heart. While eating, Da-rim became tipsy, so she went outside for some fresh air to sober up. Worried about her, Ji Hyuk quietly followed. But alas, fate played a cruel joke. Ji Hyuk unexpectedly caught a shocking scene. Seon-woo and the young lady Ha Young were exchanging a passionate kiss. Afraid that Da-rim would be hurt by seeing her husband locking lips with someone else, with lightning-fast reflexes, Ji Hyuk rushed over and hugged her tightly, hiding her securely in his arms to shield her vision. Seon-woo, after the kiss, was hit to the heart by Ha-rang's words. He originally didn't dare to confess to the person he liked because they had been friends for a long time. Seon-woo admitted that, but if he confessed, he was afraid of losing that best friend. He didn't want to lose both. Later, when Seon-woo returned, Da-rim and Ji Hyuk were nowhere to be seen. Those two were currently admiring the park at night. Looking at this place reminded Ji Hyuk of the day when the two of them were playing together on Jeju Island. He turned to ask if she remembered what the two of them had said that day. Ji Hyuk wanted to bring up Da-rim's view on love. For her, love was indeed real if the two had feelings, and truly loved each other. It was just that some people couldn't maintain that love to the end. Da-rim wondered why he suddenly brought up those random words from back then. Ji Hyuk only smiled because he didn't want Da-rim to know that Seon-woo had kissed someone else. He thought that if she knew they were in a fake marriage, and the husband acted like that, she would probably feel like she was being played with to the point of running away from home. After returning to the hotel, Da-rim was still smiling and talking happily with Seon-woo, making Ji Hyuk feel extremely uneasy. He didn't understand why he was so worried about a married woman, pacing back and forth in the room, making his younger brother completely confused, thinking he had to pee but wasn't going. Ji Hyuk kept thinking about Da-rim being betrayed, and his heart felt bitter. Ha-rang was no different. She sadly drank alcohol by herself, blaming Seon-woo for not having an eye for people. When it was time to sleep, Seon-woo tried asking Da-rim, "Was I acting well today?" Da-rim thought he had been acting like that all day and must be very tired. But she had to admit that he was indeed the ideal husband type. Hearing that, Seon-woo asked, "How do you see me as a man?" Da-rim froze for a moment and then laughed, asking back, "Have you fallen for someone?" Seon-woo's face darkened, only knowing to turn away and sleep first, not thinking she would be so carefree. Late at night, the two brothers who liked the same person couldn't sleep, only knowing to go out to the balcony to admire the ocean view with a can of beer in hand. This four-way love will surely have many obstacles. The next day at work, seeing Da-rim still smiling and talking happily with her colleagues, Ji Hyuk's heart remained uneasy. Just thinking about the scene of those two kissing, his heart was in a turmoil. Just then, Da-rim stopped by to bring some documents, and he asked, "Do I look like someone who is having trouble?" Da-rim didn't understand what he was trying to say, thinking it was about food, so she innocently said, "That's right, there's ginseng chicken soup for lunch today. Would you like to have lunch with me and everyone?" Reluctantly, Ji Hyuk had to go eat the ginseng chicken soup, while still feeling restless. Fearing that one day Da-rim would discover the kissing incident between those two, what would she do? Just then, his older sister Jin-hee told the group a story about a close friend who encountered a situation where her husband was having an affair. The husband kissed another girl while the wife knew nothing. Ji Hyuk saw that the topic was right and started gossiping, running closer to listen clearly. Jin-hee said that those who knew the matter like her were very embarrassed, not knowing whether to say it or not. The chubby colleague next to her thought it was better to keep it in her heart, otherwise the other person would be extremely painful. Ji Hyuk suddenly looked towards Da-rim, telling himself that he should also keep that matter a secret. The next day, Seon-woo had just arrived at the company when he encountered Ha-rang, who had also just arrived. Seeing that Seon-woo was dressed smartly today, wearing fragrant perfume, she was quite surprised. After the two were polite with each other for a moment, Ji Hyuk emerged as if from thin air. He discovered that this guy was suddenly using perfume and dressing up. The possibility of cheating was very high. Ji Hyuk immediately associated it with several bad scenes. Indeed, being in love made his mind confused. So Ji Hyuk decided to be a stumbling block. determined not to let Seon-woo and Harang have a chance to get close. At least the person he liked shouldn't suffer. The look in his eyes as he looked at Seon-woo was as if he wanted to eat him alive. In the meeting, Harang accidentally kicked her shoe somewhere. She used her foot to grope for the shoe, which made Ji Hyuk misunderstand that these two were flirting under the table. He froze and then deliberately shielded Da-rim from seeing, saying, "If you drop a pen, let me pick it up, because I don't want you to see scenes that you shouldn't see." At lunchtime, Seon-woo invited everyone to eat, but Da-rim's stomach wasn't feeling well, so she had to stay at the company. After everyone left, she went online to search for food that was good for the stomach when Ji Hyuk returned with a bag of porridge. He lied, "Hey, I'm allergic to abalone. I ordered beef porridge, but they made the wrong order of abalone porridge, so I'm giving it to you." Da-rim was speechless. At afternoon tea, he even bought ginger tea for everyone. To take care of her, he had to buy things for others to avoid being discovered. After finishing work, he decided to go ask Harang to get to the bottom of things. Arriving at the place, he said directly, "You seem to be happy lately, huh?" Harang excitedly told him about the person she liked but hadn't had a chance to tell her parents. The problem was that the other person had a family, and the two had kissed. Ji Hyuk asked, "What about Miss Da-rim?" Hearing that, Harang understood what Ji Hyuk meant, but she remembered what Seon-woo had asked her, hoping she wouldn't reveal the fake marriage, so she could only sigh and listen to Ji Hyuk grumbling and lecturing for a long time. That night, Da-rim recalled the things Ji Hyuk had done, making her quite touched. Not to mention, the lucky four-leaf clover she picked up seemed to have a great meaning. So the very next day, Da-rim went to meet Ji Hyuk privately to return the four-leaf clover to him. She said, "Actually, I feel like I've been luckier all this time, meeting a benefactor who helped me pay off my debt and have a good job. The project presentation is coming up, so I want to give this back to you." Seeing that, Ji Hyuk's heart suddenly felt comforted throughout the time, also because Da-rim wanted him to fulfill his mother's dream. At the presentation, Ji Hyuk's older sister, Jin-hee, presented content aimed at families with wealth to promote diapers. With the motto "Born to be luxurious," she believed that as long as they hired celebrities who like to take care of their children to promote, sales would definitely increase. Hearing that, it sounded feasible, but the number of customers might not be large. It was Ji Hyuk's turn to speak. He asked everyone, "Is Natural Bee a place that sells luxury goods? Or is it a company that contributes to the development of children?" He turned to ask Director Choi, "Do you want your child to be born a prodigy who is good at studying and knows everything or earns more money than others?" The director replied, "No parent wants that." As the director said, children are born not to be compared. Ji Hyuk introduced the tree planting project, comparing the tree's ability to grow taller than people with the desire of mothers for their children to grow tall and healthy. His plan completely outdid his sister because it had a broader and more humane vision. After the presentation, Jin-hee's face clearly showed jealousy, while his group was overjoyed. To congratulate the whole group, Ji Hyuk led everyone to eat seafood. When Da-rim accidentally dropped something and was about to bend down to pick it up, Ji Hyuk subtly used his hand to cover the edge of the table so she wouldn't hit her head. Da-rim felt a little moved by this. At the same time, Seon-woo and Harang were celebrating a birthday nearby. Seon-woo was initially enthusiastic about taking photos for Harang, but then felt that it wasn't right, so he left her. At this time, Da-rim discovered that Ji Hyuk was not actually allergic to abalone. The box of porridge that morning was a lie he told to buy it for her. Jin-hee continued to talk about the affair, saying that her friend had broken up with her husband. Da-rim naturally said, "If it were me, I would let him go. If we no longer love each other, how can we live together?" When the party ended, Da-rim was so drunk that she lost touch with reality. Ji Hyuk was worried, but she still insisted on going for a second round. Da-rim staggered as she walked, preventing Ji Hyuk from calling Seon-woo to pick her up. She said, "I know everything. That four-leaf clover is effective, right? It will help you win." Ji Hyuk was startled, thinking she had discovered that she was being cheated on, but it turned out that Da-rim recounted the incident where he lied about being allergic to abalone and bought afternoon tea because he was worried about her stomach. She was very grateful and felt a little moved. However, Da-rim didn't want to sink into self-pity. Ji Hyuk looked at her with a determined expression, almost kissing Da-rim unconsciously. The next day when she woke up, Da-rim didn't remember how she got home. During the meeting, she suddenly remembered the words she said when she was drunk and screamed out loud in embarrassment. When she met Ji Hyuk privately, she asked tentatively if he remembered anything. Ji Hyuk pretended to be innocent and said he didn't remember anything, causing Da-rim to heave a sigh of relief, blurting out that he was a bad drinker. Little did she know that yesterday's words had broken Ji Hyuk's heart. The fact that the two of them were sitting close together last night was photographed by manager Ma and given to his older sister Jin-hee to plan to take down her younger brother. That night, only Ji Hyuk and Da-rim stayed behind to work overtime. He thoughtfully instructed her, causing her to feel a little stressed. As she was about to leave, he discovered that Da-rim had a severe stomachache due to acute gastritis because of the pressure. He scooped her up and took her to the hospital. Seeing the girl he liked lying on the hospital bed, Ji Hyuk painfully wished he was her husband. When Seon-woo's phone called, Ji Hyuk thought to himself, "Sorry, but tonight I've decided to be by her side." He felt like he was crazy enough already. After waking up, Da-rim was surprised to learn that she had been taken to the hospital by Ji Hyuk. She apologized to him once again for taking up Ji Hyuk's time. Ji Hyuk didn't care at all. What he had to do today was to make sure that Da-rim was taken care of here until she was completely recovered. Da-rim noticed that this room had no one else and was full of high-end equipment. Ji-hyuk lied that there were no rooms outside, only this one. Don't worry about wasting money, I'll take care of it. When the president took action, renting a few private rooms like this was really not worth much. A moment later, Da-rim wanted to drink water. Ji-hyuk quickly got it for her and adjusted the bed to make it higher. Unintentionally putting the two in a face-to-face situation, ready to kiss, the nurse happened to walk in to check her blood pressure. Due to being in a facing position, Da-rim's measured blood pressure was extremely high. The nurse wondered if she felt hot or uncomfortable. If she knew that these two were about to kiss until her blood pressure was high, she would probably be speechless. Ji-hyuk chimed in that it was probably a problem with the measuring device. She's normal. To cool down, he had to run out and buy a can of cold water, not thinking that the situation at that time was so dangerous. When he came back, he only saw Da-rim sleeping soundly, making his heart flutter, only wishing that the woman in front of him was his wife, someone he could take care of openly, not someone else's wife. The next day, Da-rim woke up. She was surprised to learn that Ji-hyuk had not left all night and had taken care of her attentively. She shed tears as if the fact that she had lied about having a husband just to work was so miserable. Somewhere at the international airport, Ha-young's brother had just returned home for a relaxing vacation. Getting into the car, he told the driver to go to the address on the piece of paper. But the driver didn't listen. By order, as soon as the young master returned to the country, he had to be taken home to meet his parents first. Because of this statement, after returning home, Tae-young gave the driver a thick stack of dollar bills to exchange, telling him that this was unemployment assistance. He had been fired. The driver stood stunned for a while, not yet understanding what mistake he had just made. Arriving home, seeing his parents sitting comfortably, he had to speak up before the two noticed. Originally, only his mother cared about her son. Now that her son had returned, she immediately wanted to match him with a new wife. The father disagreed because he had just broken up, but the mother retorted that it was a matter of nearly a year, specifically 364 days ago. Meanwhile, Tae-young's younger sister, Ha-young, was flirting with the person she liked. Ha-young had painstakingly prepared these dishes, forcing Sun-yu to test her skills to see if she was qualified to be his wife. If you don't fall for me, then you must be sick. Hearing that, Sun-yu changed the subject, starting to talk about work. The mischievous son ran in from outside, happily showing off to Ha-young that he had just gotten scratched. Sun-yu immediately went to find bandages for his son. When he came back, he didn't think the two would be as harmonious as a real mother and child. Sun-yu started to be a little affected by the family moment. As for Natural B currently, because Ji-hyuk's team's project had been approved, his father had stood up as the host to organize a small marketing event, inviting stay-at-home parents to experience planting trees for free. Today, the chubby sister brought her mischievous son. With her husband at work, this was the only way she could look after her child. Seeing that, Da-rim warmly comforted the mischievous boy. Ji-hyuk looked at her from the side with an infatuated expression. When the groundbreaking ceremony and the participants planting trees entered, the dedicated stay-at-home mom team told the director that they would try their best not to let the chairman down. Ji-hyuk only paid attention to Da-rim and chuckled. Although everyone didn't understand, they still left a strange look on him. It must have been a sequela of the two almost kissing yesterday. At this time, Ji-hyuk's sister assigned a task to the secretary. It's just that after saying it for a long time, he didn't remember that yesterday they had discussed taking evidence of those two being intimate to create a scandal. Later, wherever Ji-hyuk's team went, manager Ma was always there to capture the moment. But every moment he captured looked like colleagues helping each other. And then somehow, he fell asleep and forgot about his task. Well, today the weather was beautiful and there was the smell of mugwort nearby, suitable for taking a good nap. On this side, Ji-hyuk's sister Ji-hye had a reunion with her ex-boyfriend Tae-young. The two went to the company's rooftop that night. Tae-young didn't think Ji-hyuk would smoke like before. She said it was only because she had a private matter that caused her a headache that she used it again. Tae-young this time seemed to want to mend his feelings with her. Even though he had left Ji-hyuk before to follow his fiancée to live abroad, it must have been after breaking up that he saw a bit of ambition and value in this girl, so there was a reunion on the roof full of memories. Returning to Ji-hyuk and Da-rim, Ms. Wood frantically ran over to report the news that her son had disappeared. Da-rim had just seen the boy, so she would go in this direction to find him first. Reaching a restricted area, Da-rim saw the boy's hat and ran inside to see what was going on. Sure enough, she found the boy's robot stuck on a tree. Da-rim called out while trying to get that toy. Because the branch was too brittle, she fell down and passed out immediately, and Ms. Wood had also found her son. Asking, she learned that the boy ran around because he was chasing a squirrel. The problem now was that she couldn't get through to Da-rim on the phone. She quickly reported this news to Ji-hyuk. Knowing that Da-rim couldn't make a call, Ji-hyuk immediately turned back to the forest because he was afraid that something would happen to her. Reaching the place where the robot was stuck on the tree, Ji-hyuk indeed saw Da-rim fainting on the slope below. He frantically called her to wake up. Fortunately, Da-rim only had a mild fainting. Da-rim was still worried about the boy. After knowing that the boy was safe, she also breathed a sigh of relief. Because it was raining, Ji-hyuk could only help her temporarily teach her to enter the nearby cave. The assistant manager quickly informed Sun-yu that Da-rim was missing and couldn't be contacted. He immediately left Ha-young behind, hurriedly running towards the tree garden of the Natural Bee Company. The two Ji-hyuk sat close to each other, feeling a little embarrassed. Din felt that he was like something important that always appeared right when she needed him. just like the way her father always appeared whenever she encountered difficulties. Ji Hyuk, after hearing the story, jokingly said that her father was still up there watching because he was not at ease about this clumsy daughter. Ji Hyuk wondered if that was the reason she got married early, to fill the void of care her father left behind. Da-rim suddenly felt a little startled, only being able to admit it because she was lying about being married. Sun Yu at this time had also arrived at the restricted garden. Even though he tried to stop her, Sun Yu didn't flinch, directly running straight into the forest to find Da-rim. Ji Hyuk was afraid that Da-rim was sick. He took off his coat and put it on her. Then the two sat next to each other, warming each other up like a real couple. Ji Hyuk wanted the two of them to be in this close state for a moment, hugging Da-rim as if protecting a fragile item, until the two were exhausted and fell asleep. Da-rim suddenly realized that Ji Hyuk was burning hot with a fever. She worried that he was sick, but Ji Hyuk held her hand. "I also felt moved when I saw you." It turned out that the words he said when he was drunk were just a lie to make Da-rim feel less embarrassed. He really knew all the heartfelt words from that day. So now Ji Hyuk no longer wanted to care whether Da-rim had a husband or not, only wanting to put a fiery kiss on her lips. That moment was immediately broken when Sun Yu hurriedly ran over. He frantically pulled Da-rim back, but Ji Hyuk refused to let go, as if wanting to tell Sun Yu that he was declaring war to take his wife. Even though they were nominally a fake couple, Sun Yu was quite surprised by Ji Hyuk's bold actions. This was no longer a relationship between a superior and a subordinate. The rescue team had also arrived. Ji Hyuk could only stand there like a zombie, thinking back to what he had just done on the way home. Sun Yu didn't want to see the two of them being so intimate, actively offering to pay off Da-rim's debt in place of her because there was an inappropriate relationship between her and Ji Hyuk. Da-rim said that nothing was going on, not wanting Ji Hyuk to talk about what had just happened. The next day, Ji Hyuk's father came to the hospital to visit his wife, but she wasn't in the room. Realizing that the person she hated most was here, Ji Hyuk's mother hurriedly ran away to hide. Seeing that, the bodyguards chased after her to find her. Reaching a room, he demanded to enter the bathroom to investigate. Fortunately, Da-rim's mother stopped him, calling him a pervert, which made him leave. Da-rim's mother, although she didn't understand why that woman was so scared. But at least with her here, no one would be allowed to touch this new friend in the hospital. The next day at work, Da-rim was cared for by her colleagues, who bought her cold medicine. Miss Jin Hui apologized because her son had troubled Da-rim a bit. Miss Jin Hui encouraged everyone to cheer up because today was payday. Seeing more than 2 million won in her account, Da-rim could finally breathe a sigh of relief after a period of struggling without money. The first thing she thought of was to withdraw money, then buy medicine to gradually pay off Ji Hyuk's debt. It's just that today, he didn't go to work after being in the rain all night. Asking Mr. Kang, she learned that Ji Hyuk had asked for leave. Even so, Da-rim still asked him for his home address. She wanted to personally go there to pay off the debt and say thank you. Meanwhile, Ji Hyuk, because he had a cold, was quite tired now and just woke up with heavy feet stepping outside. Seeing his father sitting on the sofa comfortably sipping a glass of wine in his house, he was the person he didn't want to meet the most, just because his mother was a victim in a family love affair. He nonchalantly brought a third person home to live. After all those things, he was still carefree, which made Ji Hyuk feel extremely disgusting. His father, after hearing him, threw the glass of wine behind Ji Hyuk. "Can you say that?" Before his eyes appeared another Ji Hyuk asking, "Aren't you gradually becoming the third person in someone else's story? You and Dad are no different." This time, Ji Hyuk finally woke up for real. Remembering the wrong things that had lost his reason, he didn't think he could be so corrupted for love. Now Ji Hyuk had regained his senses and decided to live according to his human character. When work was over, Da-rim came to Ji Hyuk's address according to Secretary Kang's words. She worriedly arrived in front of Ji Hyuk's house. Seeing that he was still healthy, Da-rim was relieved to some extent, but what surprised her was that Ji Hyuk had transformed into a different person. "What are you doing here? Does your husband know that you came here? Coming to someone's house without informing them is impolite," Ji Hyuk said coldly. Hearing that, Da-rim also regained her senses, trying to explain that she only came to pay off the debt and bring medicine as thanks. Saying that, she left the things there and left, to let Da-rim know it was hard to back down, and not to ruin someone else's family. The next day, during a meeting between his family and Ha-young, Ji Hyuk proposed getting married right away or as soon as possible. Ha-young heard the shocking news and couldn't believe her ears. Before she could understand what Ji Hyuk wanted to do, her mother had already rejoiced as if she had caught a golden son-in-law. Seeing that complacent expression, Ha-young pulled Ji Hyuk aside and asked, "What about Da-rim? You couldn't possibly love me suddenly." Ji Hyuk confirmed that it had nothing to do with her. He and his father had made a deal. As long as he married her and affirmed his position in the company, his parents would divorce and his mother would be at peace. Ha-young didn't want to sit still. Ji Hyuk told her that she would be imprisoned until her wedding day and would not be allowed to go out. He said it in an extremely cruel way. That night on the way home, Ji Hyuk's mother also learned the truth that her son wanted to get married so quickly only because of her. "What he's doing is beneficial to me, so divorcing you later will be simple." Who would refuse such a beneficial offer? Tae-young, after hearing the news, laughed bitterly and went to drink with Ji Hy. It was clear that he was targeting her. Knowing that she was not the head to inherit, he was very annoyed. He wondered why not let the two of them get married so she could become the future owner of that place. Was this the reason why Tae-young came back to the country this time, wanting to marry Ji Hy in order to take over Ji Hyuk's family's company? The next day, as soon as she arrived at work, Da-rim heard that Ji-hyuk was preparing to marry a rich young lady. Looking at the picture, she realized that it was the girl who often came to this place, and wondered if she was interfering in someone else's love affair. When Ji-hyuk arrived, he just coldly walked past as if there was no one there. So they had been engaged for a long time. Da-rim realized that going to his house last night was really unnecessary. Meanwhile, Manager Ma had returned to report to Miss Ji-hai. The pictures he took didn't show anything. Da-rim was currently alone on the rooftop, reorganizing everything. Now she was just his subordinate. She just needed to keep a distance and act like a normal person. So when she came back to report on the tree planting event the previous day, Da-rim spoke while using the pointer stick to avoid unnecessary physical contact. Ji-hyuk looked at her and felt itchy, not thinking that she could play this game. When the report was finished, Da-rim asked for permission to leave, indeed worthy of being the woman who could make him interested. Later, she was stuck with the document printer. Seeing that, Ji-hyuk snatched the document from Da-rim. "I can do this myself, you don't need to worry." Hearing that, Da-rim quickly left, avoiding unnecessary contact. When making coffee, the coffee machine got stuck, so Ji-hyuk hurriedly found something to fix it. Seeing that, Da-rim came to press it for him. Accidentally, Ji-hyuk turned around, their shoulders bumped, making them a little flustered. Da-rim hurriedly took out the pointer stick. "Hopefully there's no misunderstanding between us, because I'm doing this for you only because it's my shift." Saying that, she took the tea and went outside. Clumsily, she dropped the cup, causing herself to get burned. Seeing this scene, Ji-hyuk could only unconsciously come closer, painfully taking out a towel to wipe it for her. Indeed, she knew how to make people never stop worrying. A person who just kept messing things up and then getting sick. Ji-hyuk must have been forced to do something against his conscience. Ha-young was on one side trying to explain to her mother that she couldn't possibly agree to this marriage. Basically, she already had someone she liked, Mom. And that person was not Mr. Ji-hyuk. Her mother, hearing that, immediately rolled her eyes and returned to Ji-hyuk's office. Manager Ma was urgently asking him to help him with something. There was a young couple being supported by the company, and he wanted Ji-hyuk to come there to shoot footage to market the product. He said that he only needed one person from Ji-hyuk's team. Of course, as long as the team leader went, hearing that there was no Da-rim, he immediately agreed. Just at the time he needed to relax and remove Da-rim from his head. Different from Ji-hyuk's calm appearance, Da-rim on the way home saw the company's advertisement being widely promoted. But instead of being happy, she felt sad because of Ji-hyuk's cold words of wanting to stay away, not thinking that he could be so heartless immediately. To make it even worse, the heel of her high heels broke. On the day of departure, Ji-hyuk looked at the distant sea, wondering why the scene of the two kissing came to his mind. Was he sure that going like this would make him forget her, or would he remember her like crazy? Later, Manager Ma led the person in charge out. Ji-hyuk, seeing Da-rim, thought he was hallucinating, but it was Da-rim in flesh and blood. Manager Ma said that the person on his side had diarrhea and had asked for leave, so he had to ask Da-rim instead. But this was a part of Ji-hyuk's sister's plan to create a scandal on the island. Ji-hyuk, seeing Da-rim struggling, couldn't help but turn back to help. Da-rim, knowing that the two had to keep a distance, immediately refused to let him help. Arriving at the house of the sponsored customer, the two carried their 2 children, not thinking this family had so many. Birthing 4 children at once was truly a miracle. Ji-hyuk saw Manager Ma and the owner preparing to leave, anxiously asking, "Where are you going?" Ji-hyuk didn't want to be alone with Da-rim, but Manager Ma deliberately kept him behind because the team leader might not be able to do this job. Ji-hyuk, hearing that, could only be speechless. Helpless, he could only stay with Da-rim to take care of the client's children, feeling like now the two of them were really a married couple with several children. When the client returned, Ji-hyuk's and Da-rim's work was finished, but they missed the train because Manager Ma deliberately stalled. When Ji-hyuk called back to ask him, he lied that he was on the train, forgetting to tell him the time the train left the station. "Maybe we'll meet again later." Helpless Da-rim could only follow Ji-hyuk to find a cheap motel to stay in. But this place was all arranged according to Manager Ma's wishes. He bribed a nearby landlady. When Ji-hyuk came to ask, she said that there was only 1 room left for rent. There's no other area around here. The two had no choice but to grit their teeth and rent it temporarily. Da-rim and Ji-hyuk had been wanting to keep their distance from each other, trying to ask to borrow things to stay apart. If not, sleeping outside on the porch would also be fine. The landlady didn't allow it, only forcing the two to either stay together or there was no other choice. Taking advantage of that opportunity, Manager Ma, like a spy, began to take pictures to create a scandal, and inside the motel, Ji-hyuk advised her to tell her husband. Da-rim comforted him that she would talk to her husband later, not to worry. At dinner, unknowingly, the landlady had treated the two to delicacies and specialties without lacking any dishes, unlike some sticky rice shop where 50-01 only got 2 pieces of meat. Da-rim, carrying children all day, was hungry, so she didn't stand on ceremony at all, picking up and putting food in her mouth. When the two went to take a bath, Manager Ma continued to take pictures in a hurry. It had to be said that the plan Ji-hyuk's sister came up with was really brilliant. After showering, Ji-hyuk had already prepared the mattress, but Da-rim's expression made him desperate. Just turning around to calm down, he immediately saw a tiny spider. He was so scared that he screamed like a princess. Someone as big as an elephant was afraid of a spider as small as a grain of rice. Manager Ma, outside eavesdropping, thought the two were getting down to business, truly not knowing how to control themselves at all. Later, Da-rim caught the spider. Ji-hyuk wondered why she didn't get rid of it. She said that it was a good species for humans and shouldn't do that. At night, the two tiredly lay with their backs to each other. Da-rim exclaimed that Ji-hyuk was really a better children than she thought. It was also thanks to her. Whether it was because she was too tired or not, Da-rim fell asleep right after speaking. After a long while, Ji-hyuk tossed and turned, unable to sleep, turning around to catch the scene of Da-rim curled up and sleeping soundly. Looking at that cute face and lips, Ji-hyuk's heart now must be fluttering and jumping around. I've tried to not be moved, but Ji-hyuk decided not to sleep anymore, put on his shoes, and went for a run around the island area. He couldn't restrain the temptation whenever he thought about those lips. Why was it so hard to not care about a person? He wondered after returning home. Ji-hyuk's mother asked him if he had thought it through. Why did he go and marry someone he had no feelings for? Ji-hyuk only didn't want his mother to be controlled and tormented by his father forever, but his mother wanted him to think again. Marry the person you love, don't be like dad. At the wedding dress fitting for Ha-young, Ji-hyuk, as soon as he looked, had a hallucination. The person in that wedding dress was Da-rim, beautiful and constantly missed by him. It seemed that he could be said to be daydreaming, wishing that she was his wife. His mother even thought he was infatuated with her daughter to the point of being stunned, rejoicing because she had a talented son-in-law. But Ha-young was not happy at all. She disregarded what her mother said and started to find the love of her life. When she was about to leave, her mother called back to ask Ji-hyuk if her daughter was with him. The two must be going out to have a fun dinner, right? Ji-hyuk, hearing that, suddenly understood that she might be flirting with someone else's husband, immediately turning his car around to go to Sun-yu's house to investigate. Indeed, Ha-young was upset and came to see Sun-yu, forcing him to take responsibility for kissing her and then being discovered by Ji-hyuk. You have to take responsibility for your actions. Sun-yu was dumbfounded. Clearly, you kissed me. Recalling why back at that cave, Ji-hyuk had let go of Sun-yu's hand, it turned out that he knew about the two kissing. After coaxing for a long time, Ha-young finally stopped crying, even wanting Sun-yu to comfort and soothe her like a baby. Before they could be happy for long, Ji-hyuk caught this scene, and Sun-yu was punched painfully. Ha-young, because she loved him so much, hurriedly shielded Sun-yu. But Sun-yu also had something he wanted to say, but only to him and Ji-hyuk. The two men just faced each other. Sun-yu said that because he was too drunk that night, he made a mistake. He was just trying to convince Ha-young not to go any further in this matter. Ji-hyuk asked what if it happened again. Sun-yu was sure that he wouldn't let that happen again. If that was the case, Ji-hyuk warned that if it happened again, he would definitely chop Sun into pieces. It was likely that he would smash the pot and snatch the flower. After returning home, Da-rim saw that Sun-yu had a cut lip. She worriedly asked him what happened, then took ointment and quickly took care of him like taking care of her boyfriend. Sun-yu said that he just accidentally bumped into a utility pole, and then asked Da-rim a serious question, in his heart wanting to say whether it was possible to turn this fake marriage into a real one, but he hesitated and didn't say it out loud. Da-rim, seeing him hem and haw, thought it probably wasn't anything big. She hurriedly went to sleep because she was a bit sleepy. The next day, Manager Ma excellently completed the assigned task, even telling about the strange sounds in the private room of those two that were not proper. Ms. Ji-hyuk, hearing that, frowned. Okay, you don't need to tell me anything else. With this many pictures, it's enough to create a scandal. Tomorrow was Ji-hyuk's wedding day. He didn't know if he could really let go of Da-rim, remembering the words his mother said, marry the person you really love. Everything was like a spinning top, messing up Ji-hyuk's thoughts. Unconsciously, he went all the way to Da-rim's house, accidentally seeing the scene of the three happily laughing and talking with baby Jun. Clearly they were very happy, why should he interfere? In his heart, he seemed to have made a final decision after seeing that happy family scene. Unconsciously smiling brightly. Seeing you happy from afar is more than enough to relieve my sorrow. Ji-hyuk called his best friend to have a few drinks to relieve his mental stress. Mr. Kang told him that not everyone who loves and then gets married is happy. Just like him, it was easier to breathe. After drinking, the two went for a second round, going to a karaoke bar to sing to ease the sorrow. Singing for a long time, trying to forget the image of Da-rim, which was always lingering in his head. The lonely hand holding the flower, waiting for remembrance and longing. So many beautiful memories. Those dates and beautiful smiles gradually appeared in his mind. Ji-hyuk couldn't possibly get that girl out of his head. The next day was also when he was getting married. Ji-hyuk looked at himself preparing to become someone else's husband, feeling a little unwilling. Just at this moment, he accidentally saw Da-rim's family of three happily laughing and talking. What surprised him even more was that the boy Jun called Da-rim aunt, causing Ji-hyuk to find a lifeline. The boy called Da-rim aunt? It turned out that all this time these people weren't a married couple, a breakthrough discovery that could make Ji-hyuk cancel the wedding. Remembering the times he had been out with Da-rim, Ji-hyuk remembered that everything she said seemed to imply that she didn't actually have children and didn't know how to take care of children. It was the same when they went to plant trees in the park. The sisters all said that Da-rim probably had never taken care of children. His thoughts were suddenly interrupted by his mother. It was already time to enter the wedding hall. Ha-young and Ji-hyuk were holding hands, but their faces were not happy at all. Only the father who saw the benefits had a happy expression. The program's MC announced that the first item was exchanging rings and replaying the wedding videos of the two. Manager Ma took the opportunity to switch the USB, preparing to cause a riot. But the ring exchange program of the two ruined everything. Ha-young didn't want to marry Ji-hyuk. Ji-hyuk, looking at the ring, kept associating it with the scene of himself marrying Da-rim. When the two put on the rings, Ha-young deliberately blocked his hand, secretly wanting to overthrow the wedding and run away with the person she loved. Suddenly, Ji Hyok's mother fell down, causing the wedding to be postponed. On the way to the hospital, he hugged his mother worriedly, only hoping that she wouldn't encounter anything. His mother slowly opened her eyes and said that she was fine. Originally, seeing that Ji Hyok wasn't marrying the person he loved, she deliberately did that to save her son's life, unintentionally saving Ha-young as well. And Ji Hyok's father on this side was in a hurry, hastily wanting to reorganize the wedding as soon as possible. Marrying into the Ha-young family would definitely benefit his path to wealth a lot. To help herself let go of her husband, Ji Hyok's mother invited a famous pair of lawyers, and everyone probably knew that the pair of lawyers was ready to serve. Ji Hyok only hoped that his mother could escape his father. She was sure that what she was doing was for Ji Hyok and for herself. Lawyer Chan gave Ji Hyok a business card introducing that for this case, the two only needed to pay 500 won in advance. 500 for each person, a total of 1,000 won. According to habit, Lawyer Chan often called Lawyer Baek Trainee B. Lawyer Baek only needed Ji Hyok to provide them with legal evidence related to the fact that his mother was the founder of the company, then just maintain the current state until they regain management rights for the two. Mr. Chan was still cool as ever, along with Trainee Baek starting to rescue the company for Ji Hyok. When she left, Dime didn't understand why just seeing Ji Hyok's name on the wedding announcement board her heart skipped a beat, as if she had lost something important. And Ji Hyok, when he returned, also started to rearrange all the information he had from then until now. According to his mother's words, follow your heart. The first person he thought of was Darim. Seeing her lying again, he hated not being able to hold her down and kiss her right here to probe more carefully. The next day at work, Ji Hyok called his younger brother to inform everyone to prepare for a meeting. In the meeting, Ji Hyok began to divide the plan for the photo exhibition. Everyone was assigned clear tasks until it was Darim's turn. Ji Hyok asked her what kind of classes a child would like to go to. Seeing her flustered expression, Ji Hyok was very pleased. The two just looked back and forth. Fortunately, Ms. Chubby stood up and interrupted. It must be that the team leader wants to explore the classes for his children. The wedding was cancelled. He must be very eager. But there are many good types of classes. Dim, as if catching a lifeline, nodded repeatedly. Later, she brought the report about the photo exhibition. She wondered if his mother was okay. Ji Hyok folded the report in one go, then took out the pointer stick like Darim used to do. Redo the report. Dim was very annoyed but still had to pick up her butt and redo it, submitting it to that tyrant again and again. The revenge for daring to lie to the president made him dizzy with worry for her all month. Until Ha-young appeared looking for Ji Hyok, Darim didn't know if she was worried and came to urge him to get married again, only seeing that the two looked really beautiful together. But the reason Ha was here was to say that in her heart there was someone else. Ji Hyok, knowing that, and also the fact that Darim wasn't Sun Yu's wife, Ha-young shouted. Ji Hyok, afraid that Darim would hear, directly forced her against the wall to shut her mouth. This scene accidentally made Darim misunderstand that these two couldn't resist and were getting intimate. Suddenly in her heart, she felt a pain that wouldn't stop. Until Darim left, Ji Hyok told Ha-rang that he would cancel the wedding. She was happy on her face, even making him record it for fear that Ji Hyok would go back on his word. For now, he still had to get married and fake before. The fact that the two had met was reported by manager Ma to Ji Hyok's sister. It was likely that those two were preparing to get married again, and Ha-rang continued to instruct her partner that as long as he didn't stop her from pursuing Sun Yu, she would do anything. Coming outside, Ha-rang blurted out that Darim was single, unintentionally being caught by Ji Hyok's sister, asking, single what? Fortunately, Ji Hyok arrived in time, saying one single. I mean, you buy me a unique ice cream. Ha-rang also quickly contributed a word, so as not to let others discover. Throughout that day's work, Ji Hyok asked Darim if she wanted to say anything to him. The two went into the private office. Darim tried to explain that her report might not be very good, but Ji Hyok was more concerned with why she had to hide and lie about being married all this time, making him suffer and worry for so many days and nights. Darim felt that Ji Hyok seemed to be angry at her, so he gave her a lot of work and only looked at it like that. Ji Hyok also wondered why he had to be angry at her. Was she the wife of Kim Sun Yu, or was she the mother of Kim Jun? Meanwhile, Ha-rang had bought flowers to meet Sun Yu to express her feelings. She told him about the fact that Ji Hyok had long known that Sun Yu and Darim were not husband and wife. Ha-rang also because of that didn't hesitate to express that now she wanted to woo Sun Yu. And Darim was currently falling into a fear when her colleagues knew that she was just a liar, then alienated her. All the sarcastic words would surely cause her to collapse immediately. Remembering the scene of herself being exposed to the point of only knowing how to apologize, and finally receiving a cold dismissal from Ji Hyok, Darim now didn't know where to go. Arriving at the hospital, she had intended to tell her mother about this, but when she heard her mother say that she was about to be discharged from the hospital, her throat choked up because she was afraid that her mother would have another stroke, determined not to let that happen. Darim called Ji Hyok repeatedly, Even though it was raining, she still tried to meet him once to talk things out. Ji Hyuk originally didn't want to answer the phone. Darim thought that maybe she couldn't continue to survive when a figure approached, putting an umbrella over her. Ji Hyuk only wanted to be angry at her for a bit, but couldn't bear to let the person he loved suffer so much. Returning to his house, Ji Hyuk allowed Darim to fabricate a reason he could hear. Darim at this time told the whole story from the beginning how it happened. Being nearly 30 years old, I've never had a stable job, only knowing how to bury myself and studying to avoid the truth. Then my younger sister gave me a ticket to travel to Jeju Island. Everything was fine until I heard the news that my mother had a stroke. Darim, crying, recounted that day, she really couldn't think of anything else, only knowing to run back to her mother without leaving a word of explanation. The hospital fees she paid for her mother were extremely high, and returning home, she learned that her younger sister had mortgaged the house to borrow money, so she was even more devastated. At that time, I was very desperate and accidentally saw the recruitment of the Nature Roby company, requiring someone who had a family and young children. I reluctantly lied without thinking things would become like this. Even though she knew it was a bit embarrassing after the things that had happened, Darim still hoped Ji Hyuk could give her a chance to find a new job before resigning. Ji Hyuk could only sit there and listen. Returning home, Darim dejectedly sat in front of the grandfather tree. Sunyu, seeing her like this, must have been tormented by Ji Hyuk. Well, everything had been revealed. He directly expressed, "I like you, even though I'm a single father, but we've been living together for 20 years. I think I should express my feelings." Darim, hearing that, was stunned. Going to work, she was fired by her boss, then confessed to by her best friend. Sunyu told her to think carefully before answering. No need to rush to answer right away. Darim could say she had met one shock after another. Ji Hyuk was also quite confused when he thought back to everything that had happened to him in the recent past. He could only vent his anger on the puppet, feeling that maybe he had been a bit harsh with Darim. The next day at work, Darim didn't dare to call out Sunyu's father and son, probably because of what happened last night. Arriving at the company, she still didn't feel comfortable, accidentally seeing a cleaning lady spilling toilet paper all over the floor. Darim didn't hesitate to go help pick it up. Coincidentally, Ji Hyuk, coming to the company, also saw this scene. He suddenly remembered back on Jeju Island. The same kind person didn't spare her own efforts just to help others unconditionally. It was precisely this personality that made him attracted to her. Suddenly, someone kicked the roll of toilet paper away. Darim chased after it, not thinking that the roll of paper would roll in front of Ji Hyuk. The scene of him giving her the roll of paper was exactly the same. At that time, Darim gave him a tangerine. At Ha Rang's house, her brother received a letter sent to his father, but he stopped the servant. He opened that letter and discovered a bunch of photos secretly taken of Ji Hyuk and Darim. So he had a reason to meet Ji Hy. "You must be so helpless to send these photos to my father, huh? Want to ruin their wedding that much?" Ji Hy originally wanted to seize the power in the company into her hands. Only because time and time again, Ji Hyuk had completed the difficult task, she brought it back in a perfect way. Tae Rang didn't hesitate to take advantage of this, showing himself to be someone who could help her. As long as she spoke, he would be there. Ji Hy originally didn't like this guy. Looking at his face only made her feel disgusted. Today, Ji Hyuk's team was divided to take charge of each area. Darim was not with anyone, so Ji Hyuk stepped out. "Maybe I have to go with you because if I leave you alone, I don't know what you will do." Though he said that, he gave the keys to Darim to drive. As a result, she drove as slow as a snail, even being overtaken by a bicycle. Ji Hyuk, seeing that, urged her to go faster. Darim pressed the gas and almost crashed into the car in front. Arriving at the survey area, Ji Hyuk acted bossy, making her adjust up and down endlessly. He also took the opportunity to get close to Darim, his face clearly showing satisfaction when tormenting the person he liked. Did he look like a pervert or what? Darim, who was on the losing end since that day, didn't dare to say a word, only hurriedly praising the team leader. "You're really good." At the filming and photography session, Ji Hyuk saw that Sunyu was also there, so he came closer. Sarcastically said, "Son, you studied the script so carefully, huh? No wonder your acting fooled me so smoothly. I commend you for that." Sunyu could only apologize for not being able to say it for a long time. The simple reason was to help Darim. Ji Hyuk let him know that the company would soon fire her. However, being told by Sunyu that because of that, he was able to take care of Darim made him bitter. "Who are you to be allowed to do that?" "Well, I'm the one who understands and worries about her the most." That was bitter to hear. At the interview, Ji Hyuk, thinking about those words just now, still felt jealous in his heart. He deliberately spilled a cup of water on Sunyu and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I slipped." Sunyu knew what Ji Hyuk wanted to do, signaling the cameraman to continue. It was Ji Hyuk's turn to be interviewed, and he also gave Ji Hyuk an eye for an eye. "Oh, I'm sorry, I just wanted to take the cake and accidentally startled you." Finally, it was the turn of the three to sit together for the interview. Darim continuously praised Sunyu's photos, always making her feel like they conveyed the message. Ji Hyuk, sitting on one side, only felt jealous. When it came time to take a group photo, the two didn't cooperate because they were originally rivals, and taking a photo required holding hands. Sunyu took the opportunity to squeeze Ji Hyok's hand, and he didn't just stand by, but squeezed his hand back. After that, the two had a group photo that was extremely friendly. Darim could only smile wryly. What else could she do? After everything was finished, Darim curiously asked where Run was, using that as an excuse to leave first. Ji Hyok on one side accidentally heard that Sunyu had confessed to Darim, so now those two were also a little awkward. When Sunyu left, he called Darim into the private room to meet for a bit. He tried to use the excuse to stall Darim from going home with Sunyu, but in the end couldn't think of a way other than to force her against the door, then give Darim a fiery kiss. Being kissed unexpectedly like this, Darim immediately pushed Ji Hyok away, not understanding what he was trying to do. "Don't think I'm easy to mess with. You can't do that at will. I'm very disappointed in you." Ji Hyok hurriedly ran after her. He took a deep breath and then confessed to Darim. "I've liked you since the first time we met." Darim asked, "What about Harang then?" Clearly that day, she saw the two in the office. Ji Hyok stuttered, saying the two were just a cooperative relationship, nothing more. And why did he like her? Was he taking revenge for what she did? Darim promised to find a new job as soon as possible, then hurriedly left the building. Sunyu just called her back and only saw Darim's eyes welling up with tears. Until Ji Hyok ran out, he tacitly understood that it was highly likely that the two had just argued. Returning home, Darim immediately did a headstand to get the blood to rush to her brain, thinking about why he would have to lie about that. But thinking about it, she was the one who lied first. The next day, as soon as she arrived at the office to submit the documents, Darim again caught the scene of Ji Hyok pushing someone against the wall and kissing them. She walked and exclaimed, "That's really terrible." The older sister saw Darim and asked her if she had ever experienced it before. "Look, he won't stop." Darim was about to curse, "Whatever habit you have," turning around only to see Ms. Chubby being forced against the wall. Indeed, the habit of cursing people was to force someone against the wall to scold them. Could it be that yesterday, the scene of Harang being forced was also a misunderstanding? While making coffee, she remembered Ji Hyok's serious expression. "If he really likes me, what does he like about me?" Thinking about it, it still didn't make sense. Clearly he was a rich, handsome, and successful person, and she was just a nobody with nothing at 30 years old, still wandering around and with a habit of lying. There's no way he would like her, right? Later, Darim sat with everyone, listening to the sisters discuss Ji Hyok. It was true that every company had to have a team leader like this, right? Ji Hyok appeared like a ghost, calling Darim to go with him for a trip. Arriving in front of the elevator, Ji Hyok expressed that he had heard everything about the comfort from earlier with her colleagues. "Surely you will be promoted to be a good superior in the future." Darim murmured her thanks. Then Ji Hyok said, "That's the reason I like you." She froze her face, not understanding how Ji Hyok could still be so expressionless after saying such a shocking sentence. When they went to the supermarket together, the two started to choose a few products to try. Darim squeezed too much. Ji Hyok took the opportunity to make physical contact. Darim said this was too fragrant, and he released a flirting sentence. "Your spirit of self-questioning and verification is also something I like." She was too shy, hurriedly going elsewhere. Ji Hyok again followed her. "You always actively solve problems and make decisions. That's also a point I like about you. What else do you like, great ancestor?" Similar to Ji Hyok, Harang on this side, from the moment she was released, attacked Sunyu continuously, like a childhood friend with Ji Hyok, so her way of being proactive was the same. She told Sunyu that now Ji Hyok knew everything. Darim didn't have power, status, beauty, or money like her. If she was smart, she would have chosen him already. Only someone with discerning eyes like her could recognize the precious gem in front of her. Even Ji Hyok's younger brother was now actively wooing girls. At the office, Ms. Go-eun had to prepare gifts until late at night. The younger brother curiously asked about the tattoo on her hand. Go-eun was quite surprised, but made up a story that her father was a gangster. The younger brother immediately called her older sister, making Go-eun a little happy. In fact, that tattoo of hers was to cover up a scar. Mr. Tsang was the only person who asked about it. Go-eun, hearing that, immediately praised her for being such a hard-working, talented, and beautiful person. Who would look down on that scar? It was true that in the season of love, people were afraid of being alone, starting to flirt with each other for Ms. Go-eun. The next day, Ji Hyok went to the hospital to help his mother pack her things. Hearing his mother say that she wanted to move to the house of a close friend she had just met at the hospital, he wondered why his mother didn't stay at the hotel. It would be much more convenient that way. Ji Hyok's mother still didn't change her mind, directly going to meet Darim's mother, greeting her warmly. Until Ji Hyok ran out, he discovered that the mother she was talking about was Darim's mother. Her mother wondered if her new close friend had a son who was the team leader of her daughter. Ji Hyok thought, "This deal is sweet. Rowski, I'm so happy to see you mothers recover so quickly." Even Ji Hyok's mother, when seeing Darim, had a clearly happy face, seeing her son, who hadn't flattered anyone in a long time, smiling like this. She also had some doubts. Returning to Darim's house, Sun Yu enthusiastically ran out to greet them, not thinking he would meet his love rival. At the family meal, a sumptuous meal that Sun Yu laid out to please the mothers, Ji Hyuk on one side felt a little inferior, not thinking his rival would be so strong. What to do now? He wanted to pick up some food for his mother-in-law, but Sun Yu grabbed it first. The mothers tried the dish and praised it, saying Sun Yu was truly the ideal husband in everyone's eyes. Ji Hyuk on one side felt that this meal was so difficult to swallow. To please the mothers, he boldly went to peel fruit, a task that he had never done before. But what the heck? Every fruit was a mess. The president was also entering the kitchen for the first time. Ji Hyuk felt bored, so he asked Darim to stay behind, using the excuse of brushing the hair out of her eyes. Then the two looked at each other affectionately. He released a flirting sentence. "Do you know how you were born? It's another reason why I like you." Darim, afraid that someone would hear, told Ji Hyuk to speak quietly. Indeed, Ji Hyuk's mother had seen this intimate scene. She hadn't seen her son be so relaxed and carefree like a child in a long time, admitting that he had both a close friend and a beautiful future daughter-in-law. There was nothing that made her feel more satisfied. In the evening, going to throw out the trash, Sun Yu saw those two being so affectionate. He decided to be a third wheel and step in. As a result, the two brothers competed to throw out the trash, causing the trash bag to spill around. Just as Darim remembered that the house needed a light bulb, Ji Hyuk immediately ran to buy one without saying much. After changing the light bulb, the mothers were stunned when this old man bought a luxury brand lamp for the bathroom. "Father, are you going too far?" "Indeed, with money you can do anything." Since it was late, Darim chased Ji Hyuk out. He wanted to sleep with his mother, so he called out Mom, actually wanting to stay here with Darim. Just as he wanted to be intimate with his lover, his assistant brother called to disrupt him. Ji Hyuk had no choice but to put aside his flirting and go see what his brother wanted, running to the place. His younger brother asked Ji Hyuk about that girl he was traveling with on Jeju Island, thinking something had happened, but it turned out he was asking about a girl. His younger brother wanted to ask his older brother for advice. What should he do now that he liked that person so much? Ji Hyuk started lecturing for a while. Then Gong Min said that the person he liked was Ms. Go-eun. His older brother, hearing that, stammered and repeated, "Go, you can't possibly like Ms. Go." His younger brother then said that it was Go-eun. Ji Hyuk then breathed a sigh of relief, also praising his younger brother and Ms. Go-eun. They were truly a beautiful couple. The next day, Ji Hyuk, using the excuse of coming to play with his mother, stopped by Darim's house to play. Seeing the childhood photo album being leaked, Darim hurriedly took back the album and asked her mother why she let everyone see this. Ji Hyuk's mother even praised her for being cute. Even her son didn't get to go out and play as much as she did. Hearing that, Darim came up with an idea. How about our whole family go out to play together now? The place for this time's fun was Ji Hyuk's park. Darim's mother exclaimed, not thinking that her close friend was such a wealthy second-generation heir. This time, Ji Hyuk could be a son-in-law 10 times over. Darim's mother expressed her desire to come here to play every day. Sun Yu immediately accepted the deal. Ji Hyuk, seeing the rival blocking his path, asked Sun Yu, "What about your baby Ron? Doesn't he have to go to school?" "Oh, well, the school also has to take a break on Sundays." Ji Hyuk's face was very bitter. A moment later, he volunteered to buy water for everyone. Sun Yu again came to compete, making Ji Hyuk a bit dissatisfied. Sun Yu then asked, "Do you know what Darim's mother likes to drink?" "What does she like to drink?" This time, Ji Hyuk lost twice. To decide who would go by water, the two brothers played a badminton match one-on-one. The two brothers fought and fought, no one giving way to the other. Those who looked back and forth felt dizzy. In the end, it was still Ji Hyuk who was defeated by Sun Yu, losing 3-0. Ji Hyuk couldn't be reconciled. He could only sit under the tree and sulk like a child. His mother told him that Ji Hyuk was actually very passionate about sports. Everyone oohed and awed until Sun Yu showed off his national badminton tournament winning ability. Ji Hyuk felt that this guy was cheating. Having a master play against an amateur wasn't fair. "If it's Taekwondo, I'll let you have one finger." Meanwhile, at Mr. Gong's house, the in-laws were very anxious, not knowing when they could hold the wedding ceremony between the two families again. Mr. Gong said that in the near future, he would let Ji Hyuk gradually take over the company. Ji Hai, hearing this, had to be stunned, because for so many years she had secretly contributed to the company, yet it wasn't as good as her younger brother who had just returned. Because of this matter, she went to see Tae Rang, directly getting to the point of overthrowing Ji Hyuk to take ownership. Tae Rang, who had been intending to do this for a long time, told Ji Hai to directly overthrow her father Chong Ho and Ji Hyuk. After a tiring day at the park, Ji Hyuk decided to show his talent through the powerful black card, buying a bunch of luxury food for everyone to enjoy. "Whatever is difficult, I'll take care of it with money," was Ji Hyuk's motto. On an occasion like this, wine couldn't be missed. Ji Hyuk, seeing that Sun Yu was drinking, he even drank a cup, not wanting to lose to that rival. After eating and drinking to their heart's content, Darim held a glass of water for Ji Hyuk's mother. She held Darim back and told her about the incident where she stopped Ji Hyok's wedding. I just wanted my son to marry the person he liked. It had been a long time since she saw Ji Hyok competing with someone like a child. Because of her, he had to grow up early compared to his age. The fact that he's so childish now is also partly thanks to you. Seeing his mother taking her hand, Darim was a bit surprised, and in addition, she was asked for one thing. She said, I hope you two are able to get along, just as everything was to be that I had wanted for. Returning to her mother's room, Darim asked her mother how to know if someone liked you or not. She told her that her father had never said that he liked her, but what he did were emotional actions. Hearing this, Darim suddenly remembered all the subtle actions of Ji Hyok in the past. There were no words of love, but everything was love. She understood that all this time he had been secretly by her side. She could only tearfully look at Ji Hyok, who was sleeping soundly on the sofa. At the company's exhibition the next day, Ji Hyok and Ha Rang had to hold hands because of the event. Darim stood on one side watching this scene, for some reason feeling uncomfortable in her heart. Just then, 2 Western customers came to ask for advice. Darim just opened one sentence in English. The Western woman then unleashed a barrage of English, making Darim itch to get out of there. Ji Hyok from afar saw that scene, hurriedly came to start a conversation, helping his group to get out of the situation. After taking care of the customers, he hurriedly returned to Darim to explain. That earlier scene of me and Ha Rang holding hands was only for work. Darim in her heart was angry. What was with that wearing the same clothes and looking so intimate? Ji Hyok, seeing that Darim was jealous, had a happy face. To ruin the exhibition, Tae Rang hired someone to prepare to set fire to this place. Just as Ji Hyok had gone to wash his hands, he discovered a stranger lurking in the center. He hurriedly followed him, only to see him preparing to set a fire. The arsonist, seeing that he had been discovered, also started to resist and wrestle with Ji Hyok. Because they were equally matched, Ji Hyok was knocked unconscious on the spot and then set on fire. Regardless of whether he lived or died, the fire alarm quickly sounded. The stay-at-home mom squad took their flashlights and guided everyone to evacuate outside. When everyone got to the outside, Darim realized that someone was missing. She hurriedly ran inside to search for Ji Hyok, worried that he might be in trouble. Indeed, as she had guessed. Seeing Ji Hyok unconscious, Darim seemed to unleash a strength to protect her husband. With her small body, she was able to carry Ji Hyok outside. Later, waking up, Ji Hyok only saw Darim in front of him, no different from an angel, and she was too afraid of losing Ji Hyok, unable to hold back and giving him a passionate kiss. He took the chance to open his heart and told her he liked her, not for any specific reason, but simply because she was herself. Feeling deeply moved, the two shared a passionate kiss that felt like it was burning everything from the inside out. Darim also directly confessed her feelings, saying she liked him. Before they could kiss again, the kid ran over and interrupted them, crying loudly. They were so close to another kiss, which was really frustrating. Meanwhile, Ji Hyok's sister asked Tae Rang why he set fire to the exhibition hall. Tae Rang just felt that the way Ji Hyok looked at him was unpleasant, especially that arrogant attitude of his, which made him extremely uncomfortable. Returning home, the younger brother, Gong Min, carefully asked Ji Hyok what happened from start to finish. Ji Hyok was still daydreaming about the morning kiss and thought his brother was asking why the two of them were kissing. He blurted out, "You misunderstood." "Misunderstood my foot," Gong Min said. "I was asking about the fire." It was actually Darim who rushed into the fire to save him. "Don't be grumpy and rude to her anymore." Ji Hyok looked shy and embarrassed, like a guy who just fell in love for the first time. When it was time for bed, he looked at the 4-leaf clover on his phone and couldn't stop himself from thinking about the journey of getting to know Darim. It went from a drunk girl who thought he was about to give up to a girl who made his whole body feel electric. There wasn't a moment when Ji Hyok didn't think about that lovely girl. The next morning, right after showering, Ji Hyok was in a cheerful mood, feeling more handsome than he ever had before. Darim was pretty much the same. She searched through her closet and put on fragrant perfume, but couldn't find a single outfit she liked. She was the classic case of a girl with a closet full of clothes, but nothing to wear. Ji Hyok's mother heard the noise and stopped by. Seeing that her future daughter-in-law didn't know what to wear, she picked out an outfit for her. Ji Hyok will probably like this one. While Darim was still hesitating, she put it away immediately. Darim hurriedly stopped her, saying she'd wear the outfit after all. When she arrived at the company and saw Ji Hyok, her eyes lit up like never before. Then, the two of them entered the elevator together. While Darim was both nervous and worried, Ji Hyok took the initiative to hold her hand. Her little heart could barely take it, feeling like it wanted to jump right out of her chest. Once they reached the office, they were still holding hands. Darim was worried that someone would find out if they kept doing this. Ji Hyok put on a nonchalant face and asked, "Are you scared?" "I'm right here. Who would dare say anything?" He leaned close to her ear and whispered, "I'm just afraid I won't be able to control myself because you're so beautiful." Darim felt a rush of joy. What a strange man he was. Furthermore, when everyone arrived, Ji Hyok had prepared a very beautiful flower basket with a note. "Thank you for my 4-leaf clover. I promise to only make you happier." The older sisters mistakenly thought the gift was from Sunyu. They marveled at how romantic Darim's husband was. "Excuse me? I'm the one who bought it." Ji Hyuk stood there feeling quite bitter. Later, in the private office, Darim asked Ji Hyuk what would happen if someone found out. "I'd rather be caught than hide this." Looking at the card with a kiss mark, it was clear how much Ji Hyuk loved her. He had to head out soon and wouldn't see her until the end of the day. He intended to give Darim a kiss to make up for the time apart, but the others returned just then. Ji Hyuk immediately changed his face and barked, "MS. Darim, what kind of work is this?" I'm sorry, team leader." The older sisters outside thought Darim was being scolded, but Ji Hyuk was actually pointing while asking, "Do you want to eat something? Let's go on a date." He was so desperate he pinned her to the wall and said staying overnight would be even better. "Do you remember Jeju?" Darim nodded and said, "I'll consider it," while the older sisters outside thought she was being severely oppressed. At the company meeting, everyone was having a bit of a headache not knowing who the arsonist was. However, Ji Hyuk's mind was in the clouds, only thinking about Darim. His sister, feeling a bit jealous, asked, "You and Darim must be very close, right? She risked her life to save you, after all." Later, Ji Hyuk went to meet Ha-young to get the surveillance footage from the exhibition. Indeed, she found it quite hard to believe. The place was full of invited guests, yet someone still managed to sneak into the office without being caught on camera. That person must definitely know the layout of the building. Ha-young was worried Ji Hyuk would have to spend a whole week on this. But thinking back, Ji Hyuk knew exactly what that person's eyes looked like. Meanwhile at home, Darim thought her friend must be very sad that the exhibition was cancelled. Sunyu asked about Ji Hyuk's situation and only saw Darim take a drink of alcohol and then compose herself. She seriously intended to talk about his previous confession, but Sunyu didn't want to talk about it, using the excuse of being busy to leave first. He also knew very well that Darim would not return his feelings because he was the one who personally saw the two of them kissing. He was certain that from now on, the two of them could never go further than they were now. The next day, Darim and Ji Hyuk went to eat bread. The first time she saw such soft bread, she praised it endlessly. Ji Hyuk jealously asked her, "So, who is softer, me or the bread?" He meant his lips versus the bread, right? Darim immediately said eggs, of course, while he was more like sexy. Ji Hyuk's face was filled with pure joy. Thinking about it, office romance like this is great. He even made a plan that when he opens his own company, he will force employees to date at work just like him. The single people are probably like, "Just love yourself, old man. Not everyone can date a CEO like you." After finishing the meal, the two were affectionately walking and holding hands, and Darim was afraid someone would notice. But he said, "I like you to death. I'll make sure no one sees us." Well, didn't the colleagues from the company just walk up? Darim hurriedly pushed Ji Hyuk and signaled for him to find a hole to hide in. In that sudden moment, Ji Hyuk decided to transform into a watering can to hide from his colleagues. This situation looks very familiar. I remember seeing it somewhere on trending. Until late at night, Darim smiled wryly, went into Ji Hyuk's office, and invited him to her house for dinner. The mothers are making delicious dumplings. Ji Hyuk said he couldn't come because he was busy, so the two of them went to the document room together to find something. While they were being all lovey-dovey, they heard someone coming and immediately hid in a corner, scared. In this position, Ji Hyuk looked more like a creep taking the chance to get close to Darim. Later, the two found a pile of documents related to the company's past founding. She wasn't just someone who wanted children to live healthily, but also wanted them to have a better living environment. Darim let Ji Hyuk know that his mother had told her quite a bit about his childhood. Ji Hyuk wondered, "If there's anything you don't know, you can just ask me." She only wondered one thing: why a perfect adult like him has such a fearful look in his eyes, looking like he's lost somewhere. That child must have suffered a lot. Saying this, Darim hugged Ji Hyuk tightly and promised she would protect him, no matter how scary things got. It sounded like an early marriage promise. Meanwhile, Sunyu was out buying personal items when he accidentally ran into a female colleague who asked with a laugh, "Where's your wife?" These words made him feel a bit awkward. Waiting until Darim got home, Sunyu decided to speak out about the issue that had made him and the person he liked feel awkward for so long. Darim looked at Sunyu with some tension. He joked that the previous confession was just a slip of the tongue. "You didn't actually take what I said seriously, did you?" My God, his face was so tense back then, yet now he says he's joking. How on earth could Darim believe that? The next day at Ha-rang's house, even though the fire at the exhibition was a bit of a headache, hearing her mother say that the customers were quite interested in that unknown photographer friend, Ha-rang was visibly happy and took the chance to butter up her mother. "I told you, anyone Ji Hyuk looks out for is going to succeed." She brought good news to Sunyu, but his face was as gloomy as if he'd lost his best friend, even though this guy is actually very lucky. Ha-young knew that Sunyu had been rejected, and she felt bad that he had to just take it like that. "Don't worry, because there's a beautiful girl right here waiting for you," she said. In return, Ha-young just wanted Sunyu to go buy her something. At the office, Ji Hai presented a new plan for Ji Hyuk's team to the shareholders. She wanted to turn her brother's team into a customer service crew, using the excuse of giving them a chance to develop themselves. That's what she said to their faces, but behind their backs, she secretly wanted to use this to destroy Ji Hyok's team. So, the team of moms with no experience had to start doing telemarketing. Everyone has to make a cold call at least once in their lives. In just half a day, the whole team had spent half a month's salary on phone bills. Darim wondered where Ms. Go was. Go-eun. She was currently venting her sadness to Secretary Khan. "A customer told me I'm not a good mother at all," she cried. Secretary Khan was right there, constantly sweet-talking her to comfort the person he had liked since the team started. As for Darim, she was ordered to make tea for the chairman. Inside, she only saw those two in front of the chairman acting like they were dating. They were acting so well that Darim couldn't help but feel jealous. Ha-young accidentally overheard everything and asked if she needed a red carpet to leave. "Actually, I like someone else," she said. Darim heard that the person Ha-young liked was Sunyu. Before she could even be surprised, Ha-young invited Darim out for a drink. How did two people who weren't even friends end up drinking together like sisters? Darim asked why Ha-young liked Sunyu so much. She said it all started when she saw a natural photo taken by Sunyu. Her life felt like it was turning over a new leaf. "Since I was a kid, I lived like a machine, only following my dad's orders. Marrying someone like Ji Hyok was just part of my duty to this family. But then, I accidentally tracked down the person who took that soulful photo. I was captivated by a passionate person with a kind look in his eyes." Ha-young thought that if she could be with someone like that, she would soon be smiling like the girl in the photo Sunyu took. The two of them gossiped so much that they got totally wasted. When Ji Hyok and Sunyu saw this, they could only shake their heads in disappointment. They never thought there'd be a day where each of them would be looking after the other's lover. Ji Hyok's face was glowing with happiness as he said, "This is exactly why you have a boyfriend, since it's already so late." Ji Hyok and Sunyu carried the two girls, who had become instant best friends, home on their backs. The moms were shocked and couldn't figure out what was going on. But first things first, after putting the two girls in their rooms, Sunyu sat down with Ji Hyok for a man-to-man talk. Discussing the fact that they both liked Darim, Sunyu expressed that he couldn't win her heart for now and only hoped Ji Hyok would treat her a lot better. "If Darim sheds even one tear, you'll have to answer to me." "What?" Sunyu was stating the obvious. With a guy who cherished his lover that much, Ji Hyok should be grateful for his life just because Sunyu had a young child. The next day, because Sunyu had some work and couldn't take baby Run to school, Ha-young immediately volunteered to take the boy. Little Run usually really enjoyed having Ha-young around. The boy even said that at school, if anyone asked who his best friend was, he wouldn't hesitate to point to Ms. Ha. Honestly, the boy wanted Ha-young to come see his upcoming performance. Ha-young immediately asked when the schedule was. At the company, as soon as Darim arrived, she saw the older sister whose face was swollen from drinking too much. But everyone's faces looked lifeless, with nothing but goofy smiles, except for Ms. Hui. Later, Darim encountered a rather difficult customer who repeatedly demanded compensation. Even though Darim calmly tried to explain that they would send someone directly to inspect it, the woman immediately hung up and refused to listen. After this incident, Manager Ma brought hot news to Ms. Ji Hai, telling her there was some piping hot tea. A recording of Darim blaming the customer had hit the trending searches. This was exactly what the older sister needed to discipline her younger brother. Thanks to that customer's post, stay-at-home moms gathered in front of the company. They protested against the fraud and the defaming of the customer. Darim saw this and rushed out to explain that there was nothing inside the diaper. She also explained that she didn't say those insults, but the customers just threw things at her. The stay-at-home moms from the team appeared to shield Darim. "If no one protects you, then we will," they said. Though this plan was actually orchestrated by Ji Hyok's older sister to create some drama for her brother to handle. Ji Hyok was extremely worried after hearing the news and came to check on her. He called Darim into his private office, immediately hugged her, and felt a bit guilty. He wanted to sue immediately, but Darim wanted to settle it privately. So the two of them went directly to the house of the person who spread the rumor. When that woman realized the two of them were from the diaper company, she immediately got nervous, kicked them out, and ran away. When stopped, she only knew how to blame the company, accidentally failing to notice the stroller slowly rolling down the hill. Darim saw this and immediately chased after it, disregarding her own life, and fortunately saved the baby in the stroller just in time. After this incident, Darim was taken to the hospital by Ji Hyok for treatment. Luckily, it was just some scratches. As for the mother from earlier, she was extremely apologetic and could only apologize and say thanks, for without her, her child would have met with disaster. Finally, the very next day, that mother stood up and spoke out an apology, admitting that everything was her own fabrication helped restore the company's reputation. "Thanks to that girl, my child was saved." Attached below was the original recording of the two of them. Before they could even celebrate, Ji Hai appeared with a file in her hand, specifically pointing out Darim. "You're single, right?" Luckily, at first, Ji Hai only wanted to come here to confirm that Darim was actually single, wishing for her to at least hold a press conference with her on-paper fake husband, Sunyu. Ji Hyuk, on the other hand, thought that was unnecessary because everything had already been resolved. If that's the case, then at least I'll post an internal notice praising the achievement. After saying that, she left and called Tae-rang back to confirm that she was indeed single. The two of them are making a plan to give Ji Hyuk a hard fall. Ever since the information was posted, several colleagues in the company immediately came over to get to know her, making the situation a bit awkward. The older sisters all praised how work was always good thanks to Darim and the team leader here. And we should probably take this chance to go get some barbecue to celebrate our best employee's big win, right? Everyone looked happy and buttered up Ji Hyuk to go out to eat. Only Darim felt a bit uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Hayan was attending a talent show with the little boy, Run. She went to pick out a dress for the ceremony alone and unexpectedly ran into her mother there. Her mother thought her daughter was going to a fancy party with friends. Since you're here, let mom pick it out for you. That's the right way to do it. That evening when she got home, Darim's mother received a phone call from her sister whom she hadn't seen in a long time. Darim also heard the news and was looking forward to meeting her aunt who looked just like her mother, since the aunt and niece hadn't seen each other in a long time. At the company's records warehouse, Ji Hyuk discovered something that he hadn't known until now. Candidates who were interviewed with high scores were rejected, while only Darim was granted an interview despite her low scores. It was as if there was some kind of setup. To protect every employee in his group, the next day during a meeting with his father and sister, Ji Hyuk made a proposal. He wanted his father to agree that as long as the upcoming project was completed smoothly, he wanted everyone on the team to be signed as official permanent employees. After returning to the office, Darim felt very guilty about hiding the fact that she had a husband from everyone until now. She wanted to open her mouth to explain, but Ji Hyuk cut her off. Everyone will be promoted to permanent staff soon. Everyone was overjoyed and jumped for joy after hearing that. Ji Hyuk knew well that there was something guilty in Darim's eyes. A moment later, she went into his office and took the initiative to submit her resignation, but Ji Hyuk refused. Things weren't as simple as she thought when Ji Hyuk showed Darim the original recruitment applications. People with high education and qualifications were rejected right at the start. Only those from lower backgrounds or with little education and experience were hired. It turned out this team was just for show. Ji Hyuk admitted he thought that way back then, but there was one person who never gave up, and that was you, Darim. Thanks to your enthusiasm and the effort in your blood, you successfully made Ji Hyuk change his mind about that showpiece group. And now, you are someone he doesn't want to lose. You are the soul of the group who isn't taking anyone else's place. For now, if you want to quit, Ji Hyuk only needs you to help everyone become permanent employees first. Hearing that condition, the sadness in Darim's heart faded a bit, but the sight of the two of them hugging was witnessed by Jin Hui outside. Why were these two people hugging? If she hadn't seen it, fine, but once she saw it, she had to gossip. Before she could say more than a few words, Darim approached at the same time, and Secretary Khan cleared his throat, making the team disperse. While everyone was still there, Darim informed the group to prepare to go to the mother and baby fair to brainstorm ideas. Everyone started hinting that she and the team leader had been spending a lot of time alone talking lately. Darim still didn't understand what was going on and informed the whole group that tonight was on Ji Hyuk. Everyone asked if Sunyu was going. Hearing that it was just the team, everyone was dissatisfied that her husband wasn't coming. So they all used the excuse of being busy and wouldn't go. Tonight, little Ron had a performance. The boy was worried whether his father would make it in time. Fortunately, Hayan was always following him. Seeing little Ron, she screamed because he was so incredibly cute. Sunyu was busy taking photos for someone else. When the organizers called for Sunyu's name, only Ha-young stood up and claimed to be the closest family member of the boy. Now, with Ha-young there, little Ron didn't feel lonely and performed his act confidently on stage. When Sunyu finally arrived, he only saw the two of them cooperating very happily. After the performance, Sunyu apologized to little Ron for being late. He had to thank Ha-young because, thanks to her, Ron wasn't lonely. It was revealed that the boy himself had told her about today's performance. The way Sunyu looked at her was a few parts gentler than before. However, when they got home, Sunyu suggested that the two of them should meet less often, fearing that if they couldn't see each other later, little Ron would be hurt. Moreover, Sunyu didn't have romantic feelings for Ha-young. These words made her heart skip a beat, feeling extremely uncomfortable. Today at the company, Ji Hyuk accidentally bumped into Tae-rang just as he stepped out of the elevator. He looked annoyed when Ji Hyuk only apologized once and then left. Ji Hyuk suddenly realized this was Ha-young's brother. He approached Ji Hyuk to ask about his younger brother. That indifferent attitude like a street market really hasn't changed at all. Ji Hyuk snapped back. It's good that you understand it that way. You look like a wild animal that lost its leash. Also, you should wait for people to get out of the elevator before you go in. Do you understand? Tae-rang was very bitter after being put in his place, but couldn't do anything. Meanwhile, Darim decided today she had to tell everyone the truth about not having a husband. I'm sorry for not letting everyone know until now. I only did this job to pay for my mother's treatment. When everyone becomes a permanent employee soon, I will try my best to pay you all back, and we will work hard together until the end. Everyone only felt more sympathy for her after knowing the reason and didn't blame her at all. In the evening after work, Ji Hyuk was held back by two older sisters as soon as he left the office. Go-eun stood in front of him and announced that she had booked the best restaurant near the company. Then the whole team headed into the elevator together. Today they had to have a real feast because they found out Ji Hyuk and Rim were a couple. Secretary Kong looked very annoyed to find out that his older brother had been hiding a workplace romance until now. The explosive kiss was also revealed by the younger brother. The older sisters gossiped and asked what that explosive kiss was. Ji Hyuk was about to explain but decided to let Rim do it. In the end, no one could say a word. Ji Hyuk could only make up for it by treating everyone to an all-you-can-eat meal. After the meal, Rim didn't think everyone would be so sympathetic towards her. Ji Hyuk gently hugged her and comforted her. "It's okay, Rim, I'm very proud of you." Until now, Rim felt that Ji Hyuk had always been suffering a lot in silence. He felt that everything was forgivable because Rim was actually single. That was what Ji Hyuk felt happiest about after everything. At this moment, Ji Hyuk looked at Rim nervously. "I just hope you will face me and don't run away anymore." Rim didn't refuse either. She stood still and let Ji Hyuk gently kiss her on the lips. Unlike those previous explosive kisses, this time the two gently approached each other, and in this rain, there must have been a bit of steaminess in the air. Waking up the next morning, the two of them didn't want to get out of bed and just wanted to lie there like this. Ji Hyuk asked, "What do you want to do?" Rim said, "Doing this or that is fine, so doing it one more time isn't too late either." Meanwhile, the two mothers at home wondered why Rim hadn't come home yet. Ji Hyuk's mother was curious if the girl had a boyfriend yet. She's a good girl, but she's been an old maid for 28 years already. Ji Hyuk's mother immediately blurted out, "What does she think about my son?" No, that boy is way too handsome." Ji Hyuk's mother was afraid her future in-law would worry, so she said the boy looked ordinary and you could just grab someone like him off the street. "Where exactly is that street? Tell me so I know." Ji Hyuk's mother was speechless. As for Ha-young, because she was rejected, she got dead drunk. Her mother found out and gave her a real tough time. She never thought her daughter would love someone else instead of Ji Hyuk. To put that guy in his place, she went all the way to Sun Yu's house to see what kind of person he was. But before she could question him, Sun Yu took out some bandages to check her wrist. "I usually play with the kids, so I occasionally get injured like this too." Sun Yu's attentive and handsome nature immediately made the mother forget why she had come there. "This will get better soon, ma'am." Her 50-year-old heart felt a little flutter. If Ha-young saw this, she'd probably think, "Mom, do you finally understand how your daughter feels?" Since she couldn't question Sun Yu, she used the excuse that she didn't know what to buy yet, so she would come back next time. Today, Rim had a date with Ji Hyuk. The two cooked together at home and enjoyed their private moments like a normal couple. Even when just cooking, they were totally all over each other. This public display of affection was everywhere, from the dining table to making coffee. The audience watching this at night would probably feel full without even eating. The kissing in this part was truly satisfying. Meanwhile, Ha-young's mother was still thinking about her daughter's words. Her thoughts were interrupted by her husband just because he told her to pour water. Because her wrist hurt so much, she forgot she had another hand. Seeing that her husband only knew how to be grumpy, she suddenly felt fed up. At the company, Rim was meeting with superiors about creating a new product to help grow revenue, while also helping everyone on the team become permanent employees. Rim and the ladies worked very hard. Even Ji Hyuk had to admit that although they lacked experience, the people he picked were never ordinary. After a long period of work, the whole team successfully created a baby carrier product, or rather, a product that helps moms carry their babies more easily. While they were celebrating, a package was delivered that made everyone curious. Opening it up, inside was a baby carrier product identical to the one Ji Hyuk's team made. Worse yet, the quality and durability were not inferior at all, even though the team's product hadn't even been launched yet. Because of this matter, the chairman personally stopped by the office and immediately gave her a very painful slap right in front of Ji Hyuk. Ji Hyuk's eyes looked murderous, signaling that he didn't need this job anymore. While Rim was still panicking, Ji Hyuk's father scolded her, calling her a corporate spy who leaked company secrets. It turned out that the product documents sent to the rival company were sent from Rim's email. The company also found her old resignation letter, plus the fact that she lied about being married to get the job. All these suspicious points made the company certain that Rim was indeed the spy. Ji Hyuk stood up to protect Rim in front of his father, but Ji Hyuk added fuel to the fire by showing their father several photos of Rim and Ji Hyuk being intimate. Seeing this, the father demanded Rim be fired immediately and reminded Ji Hyuk that love is just a passing thing, while only money and power last forever. But Ji Hyuk wouldn't give up. He wanted to personally handle the investigation into Rim. Rim was misunderstood and gossiped about by her co-workers. At that moment, Ji Hyuk walked up and gave her a big hug. He couldn't stand seeing Rim feel even a little bit hurt and promised to find every way to fix this. Meanwhile, Ji-hai and Taeyong were extremely pleased. This plan against Darim was actually being pulled by the two of them behind the scenes. Taeyong even secretly told Ji-hai that the plan wasn't over yet. Next, he would make sure Ji-hyuk had no chance to recover. Ji-hyuk was actively investigating the truth and wanted to speak privately with Darim while she was under internal investigation. Unexpectedly, Darim suddenly admitted to the corporate spying and refused to talk to Ji-hyuk. Ji-hyuk had no idea that behind his back, Ji-hai had gone to see Darim. To make Darim willingly accept this baseless charge, Ji-hai told her that the company was about to hold a shareholders meeting. Originally, Ji-hyuk was supposed to be promoted to vice president at the meeting and become the future heir of the company. But the trouble Darim caused would make Ji-hyuk lose his future, not to mention the VP position. He might even be fired from his current job. Only if Darim took all the blame could Ji-hyuk avoid getting dragged down. Ji-hai even threatened that if Darim stubbornly resisted, she would drag down not only Ji-hyuk but also the members of the mother's team. The chairman might even disband the whole group in a fit of rage. To protect Ji-hyuk and the members, Darim had no choice but to agree. Today, right after Darim signed the confession for the spying charge, Ji-hai quickly called a secret meeting with the shareholders and had the secretary talk bad about Ji-hyuk in front of the senior leaders. This person spread rumors that once Ji-hyuk returned, he would definitely purge those who opposed him, and they hoped the shareholders would act first by proposing to fire the chairman, since he was still on Ji-hyuk's side. The senior leaders were a bit hesitant until Taeyong showed up. With his smooth talking, he started to persuade them. Ji-hyuk didn't know that danger was about to hit. That night, he went to Darim's house to ask why she was lying. Darim kept up her lie, claiming that she was naturally a woman who lied. But Ji-hyuk didn't believe it. In his eyes, Darim was incredibly kind and always put others first. Suddenly, Darim proposed a breakup. Ji-hyuk tried to hold on, but Darim intentionally said bitter and cold words, saying that it was because she got involved with Ji-hyuk that her life became tragic. And now, she hoped that for her and Ji-hyuk, everything could go back to the way it was. Facing the end of the relationship, Ji-hyuk shed tears, sad and heartbroken. He didn't know that after turning his back and walking away, Darim was also hiding in a corner and crying silently. After leaving the company and breaking up with Ji-hyuk, Darim confessed to her mother about lying to get the job. Knowing that her daughter had suffered a lot to get money for her medical expenses, the mother decided to sell the family home to pay off the debt. She couldn't let her daughter continue to struggle because of her anymore, even though this was a precious house left behind by her late husband. Not long after, Darim packed her luggage and prepared to move out. Before leaving, her eyes lingered on the chandelier that Ji-hyuk had hung in the bathroom. Carrying regrets about the past, Darim and her mother quietly left this familiar place. Ji-hyuk continued to investigate persistently. With the help of his assistant, he found an employee from the rival company. Following them, he discovered that this person had met a mysterious man many times and seemingly accepted bribes from him. Investigating up to this point, Ji-hyuk couldn't hold back anymore and went to find Darim. But he only saw that Darim had already moved away. Ji-hyuk had to go find Sunyu, hoping he would tell him Darim's whereabouts. At first, Sunyu refused. He didn't want Darim to get hurt because of Ji-hyuk. But Ji-hyuk firmly promised that this time, he would use all his strength to protect Darim. Darim and her mother moved to a relative's house in the countryside and started helping them harvest fruit in the garden. But in her free time, Darim would look through the photos on her phone, reminiscing about memories from when she was dating Ji-hyuk and re-listening to the recording Ji-hyuk had left on her phone. Hearing Ji-hyuk's words saying he liked her and loved her in the recording, Darim couldn't hold back and burst into tears. That night, Ji-hyuk went all the way to the relative's house, but she refused to see him. Seeing this, Ji-hyuk acted pathetic and threw a tantrum, saying he hadn't eaten anything yet. The enthusiastic relative immediately prepared a table full of food to treat Ji-hyuk. While eating, to prevent Darim from leaving, Ji-hyuk acted like a spoiled child, lying that he liked having someone watch him eat. The relatives watched Ji-hyuk while chatting, and they mentioned Sang-sik, the village chief's son. Sang-sik was the most outstanding young man in the village and Darim's childhood playmate. The relative wanted to play matchmaker for the two of them. Hearing this, Ji-hyuk got jealous and bluntly declared he was Darim's boyfriend and came here tonight to take her back. Seeing Darim shake her head, the relative started babbling again, praising Sang-sik to the skies and advising Darim to just marry him. Ji-hyuk got anxious and started comparing himself to Sang-sik. Facing Ji-hyuk's persistence, Darim didn't show any reaction. At night, Ji-hyuk gave Darim a stack of photos. In the photos was the man who secretly met with the rival company's employee. Ji-hyuk had met this person before the fire at the art gallery. Ji-hyuk was certain that both that fire and the incident targeting Darim this time were done by this man. Of course, there must be a mastermind behind it. Ji-hyuk judged that the ultimate goal of the person behind it was to get rid of him, because they knew Darim was his weakness. But at the same time, Ji Hyuk swore he would definitely find that person, return Rim's innocence, and also hoped Rim would take back the breakup. To him, losing Rim was unacceptable. Rim was still hesitating, so Ji Hyuk threw another tantrum, staying stubbornly in Rim's room and refusing to leave until the relative called him to sleep in another room. Early the next morning, the relative woke Ji Hyuk up to do farm work. As soon as he heard Sang-sik was going too, Ji Hyuk jumped out of bed immediately. In the orchard, Ji Hyuk finally met Sang-sik. Just as the relative said, Sang-sik was an outstanding guy, seemingly not inferior to Ji Hyuk at all. Moreover, Sang-sik seemed to still have feelings for Rim, constantly calling her Rim. Seeing Sang-sik and Rim close, Ji Hyuk was jealous once again. What bothered Ji Hyuk even more was that Sang-sik was very good at farming. In a flash, he had picked several baskets of fruit, while he was struggling for a long time. Sang-sik was also very strong. Ji Hyuk was out of breath just carrying one box of fruit, while Sang-sik could carry several boxes on his shoulders. Even so, Rim's eyes were always on Ji Hyuk. Seeing Ji Hyuk accidentally spill the fruit, Rim ran over worriedly. After finishing the farm work, Rim helped Ji Hyuk put on medical patches. She nagged but was full of care. Ji Hyuk looked at her with gentle eyes. He really wanted to hear Rim nag like that for the rest of his life. After saying that, Ji Hyuk hugged Rim tightly from behind, and this time, Rim could no longer resist Ji Hyuk like that. That night, Ji Hyuk returned to Seoul, planning to continue searching for evidence to prove Rim's innocence. Meanwhile, Ji Hyuk was also waiting for the right time to act, swearing to take down Ji Hyuk. The next day, at the press conference, as the chairman announced the upcoming appointment of Ji Hyuk as vice president, Ji Hyuk stopped him and stood up, wanting everyone to see a few things. The whole room started buzzing. Ji Hyuk stood at the podium and spoke about the major incidents at Natural B lately. She told the media that a subordinate of that vice president was a spy for a rival company. Even knowing this, Chairman Chung-ho still covered it up. This shows the deceptive nature of both of them. Not only that, the chairman also embezzled money for personal use. Ji Hyuk didn't hesitate to drag out everything about her father to bring him down, thinking she would sit in that chairman's seat herself. Even the fact that the chairman locked his wife in a mental hospital was completely exposed. The press started gossiping. Naturally, the chairman lost face and could only leave quietly under criticism. Taking this opportunity, Ji Hyuk wanted to propose a special vote to remove the chairman. She didn't know that the only surprise right now was Ji Hyuk waiting for his turn. When the voting numbers showed up on the screen, a piercing sound interrupted the vote. A recording played with the content, "Director gone. I sent that file to the rival using Rim's account." An unexpected attack broke out, and Ji Hyuk appeared, making the press immediately point their cameras at him. How could a party like this go on without the big boss? It turned out that yesterday, when Ji Hyuk listened back to the recording he purposefully made for Rim, he didn't realize that cheesy confession hadn't been turned off and had recorded the conversation between Ji Hyuk and manager Ma. Ji Hyuk announced, "The recording you just heard belongs to Ma Jong-gu, the marketing team leader under director Gong Ji-hai. All the evidence on the screen shows that this is a case of business interference. I am filing a formal complaint against Ms. Gong." Even the fire at the company exhibition was reported as Ji Hyuk called out Tae-dong, the eldest son of C&T Company, by name. He might be the mastermind behind both of these incidents. The clear evidence is the confession tape of Soo-dong on the screen. He admitted that Tae-dong gave him the floor plan of the arts center. Yet, he still shamelessly stood up and asked Ji Hyuk what that was compared to someone covering up a fraudulent hiring. His father committed embezzlement again. He wanted to take Ji Hyuk down, not knowing that he had an ace up his sleeve to manage the company for him. A person who has only appeared now. Ji Hyuk's mother walked proudly toward him to the surprise of those backstabbers. She stood on the stage and spoke to all the shareholders and the press, letting them know she was the founder of Natural B in AE. Regarding the relationship between her and the chairman, she stated that she had filed to terminate her adult guardianship. In her hand was a notice temporarily suspending Chairman Chung-ho's role as her guardian. Basically, it means that an AE is completely lucid and is also the company's largest shareholder since she's the founder. This means that today's vote is completely invalid. It was a direct punch to the face of that snake Tae-dong. He was furious and ran outside. His father immediately showed up, slapped him, and called him a stupid, useless loser. This is why you always lose to Ji Hyuk. Even at this point, he was still shifting the blame. It's all Ji Hyuk's fault. After finishing his work, Ji Hyuk happily went to buy a bouquet of flowers, but someone who was jealous drove directly into him and caused an accident. Rim on the other end of the phone started to panic. She only saw that Ji Hyuk was now unconscious on the spot, and the person who caused the accident was Tae-dong. When Rim rushed to the hospital, she only saw Ji Hyuk lying motionless on a cold bed. After this incident, Ji Hyuk went directly to the police to report that Tae-dong was the mastermind behind the car crash. But the police didn't believe her at all because she had so many complaints filed against her. Now she finally understands what a piece of trash that Tae-dong guy is. And the chairman also got a heavy blow from his own daughter. He will be investigated for many counts of embezzlement. For a whole month at the hospital, not a single day went by without Darim being by Ji Hyok's bedside, always just wanting him to wake up. One day, Darim felt like Ji Hyok had a reaction. Darim hurriedly went to get the doctor to come and check on him. Ji Hyok wondered why he was in the hospital. He asked if he got into an accident while he was going to Jeju Island. The only thing Ji Hyok remembered was that he had to go meet someone important. According to the doctor, Ji Hyok is currently suffering from temporary amnesia. So Darim, acting as both a nanny and the amnesiac lover, started showing Ji Hyok memories between the two of them. Ji Hyok looked at a bunch of photos and immediately said, "You are not my type." Darim said that he praised her a lot and even said she had a cute smile. "Hey, are you trying to trick me? My father asked you to do this because he wants me to come home, right?" The whole group heard the news and couldn't believe it, and they started planning to ambush Ji Hyok's memory. First was reenacting the scene of dropping tangerines when arriving at Jeju Island, and Darim hurriedly ran over wearing the exact same outfit from that day. Indeed, this made Ji Hyok start to remember something in his head when Darim gave him the orange, but then he said, "I don't like tangerines." So the tangerine plan failed. Next was the plan to recreate the scene where Darim was being harassed for dead in front of Ji Hyok. They tried to recall the scene where he was locked inside a wooden closet near Darim's house. Somehow Darim had already been in the wooden closet for some time. Pushing Ji Hyok against the wall made his breathing become a bit hurried. She even puckered her lips wanting a kiss, but he blankly looked away. "I get it. It turns out you were colluding with them." Besides those people, Ji Hyok only remembered his assistant brother, Secretary Kong. Throughout all this time, Ji Hyok felt like he truly owed Darim something. It's just that he didn't know what it was. Darim wanted him to remember everything and go back to how it was before. Ji Hyok felt he was better off this way. Clearly, in the programming of an adult who grew up in his family situation, the things Darim told him made him feel like he had been temporarily crazy. "A person like me can thrive just being alone." Hearing those cold words, Darim could only burst into tears and sadly leave the hospital room. Ji Hai is currently unable to stay in her house either. Before leaving, she left her father with one sentence: "If you had at least loved my mother while she was alive, maybe things would have been different. Stay here and watch every single person leave you and walk away." After the accidental car crash, Tae-rang ended up locked in with the same debt collectors from Darim's family. The debt collectors had seen this guy acting high and mighty for a long time, and since his family wasn't paying attention to him, they decided to act. "I don't care whose pampered son you are. Take a few of these kicks to satisfy us. Call your dad over here and let's see." Currently, Ha-young has no lingering attachments and has decided to prepare to study abroad and settle in the US. However, just because of a phone call from Sun-yu, she hurriedly went back to find the child. Throughout the whole afternoon, Ha-young worriedly searched for his whereabouts. It turned out Little Run got so tired from playing that he fell asleep in the play area. Ha-young burst into tears like a child, thinking the little friend she cherished had disappeared. When Sun-yu got home, he quietly put alcohol on Ha-young's wounds because she had been running in high heels all afternoon. But it seems thanks to this, the two looked at each other and feelings began to bloom. When Ji Hyok was discharged from the hospital, Secretary Kong revealed to him that for the past month, everything around him had been clean thanks to Darim. Ji Hyok just gave a polite smile as if that were a nanny's job. But when he got home, memories of Darim being nearby unintentionally appeared in his mind. Clearly, as a single person who liked being alone, why did everything feel so empty? The next day, Darim's mother and Ji Hyok's mother were walking together in the park. Seeing Darim, Ji Hyok's mother asked if she wanted to come back to work at the company. Darim thought returning there and meeting the new Ji Hyok was a bit complicated. And AE immediately made an offer. "What if you start your own company? Darim could be the startup CEO, and the initial capital would be provided by an AE herself." A massive gift suddenly fell into their laps, leaving both of them incredibly surprised. An AE believed that given Darim's abilities that she had observed over time, she would surely do well in everything. It was exactly like a mother-in-law picking her daughter-in-law. Even the deed to redeem the house full of memories had been bought back for Darim. Returning to that warm home, Darim went back to her happy daily life. She also accepted a life without Ji Hyok alongside Sun-yu's family. It was another Christmas season. This year, I am lonely, and the Christmas season in our movie's characters was the same. One day while going to work, Darim received a call from a colleague saying they had met Darim's younger sister. She was quite surprised because her sister had been missing for quite a long time. While cleaning her room at home, Darim accidentally found the evening gown Ji Hyok had bought for her. She remembered the night the two of them shared their first explosive kiss. Her mother stopped by and asked, "Where did you get such a beautiful dress? Are you planning to wear it to find your sister?" Her mother really felt proud to have raised two such daughters. Darim wondered why her sister was spoken of that way. The mother revealed that Dejong was actually still living and trying hard. Mom doesn't need to worry much about that girl. Sometimes in life, just existing steadily is enough. However, Darim didn't give up. She decided to go find her biological sister at the designated place. At first, there was some confusion while looking for her, but Darim refused to quit. If her sister was a tour guide, she would find her eventually. A colleague of Dajon called Darim and asked if she was a relative. Today, Dajon was not working because it was her day off. What Darim learned was a location at the Golden Bay Hotel tonight. In the evening, Darim hurriedly arrived and discovered this was the exact place where she and Ji Hyuk had first walked arm in arm. Even though many memories flooded back, the appearance of her younger sister caught Darim's attention. Just as she was about to go in, the manager blocked Darim. He required her to have an invitation to enter. Even though she tried to explain she just wanted to bring her sister home and that their mother had just had heart surgery not long ago, the receptionist told her that at the very least, she just needed to wear an evening gown if she wanted to go inside. Luckily, Darim brought the dress Ji Hyuk had bought for her. Then she hurried inside, not thinking that she would meet Ji Hyuk in this place. Ji Hyuk thought Darim was stalking him and asked her why she came to this place. Just as he was about to scold Darim, voices and memories of that explosive kiss that night suddenly rushed back into his head. Ji Hyuk had a headache, which made Darim a bit worried. She told him, "I didn't come here to find you. Just go on with your business." A couple passing by accidentally bumped into Darim, causing her to fall into Ji Hyuk, and somehow the two of them ended up kissing. Thanks to that very kiss, Ji Hyuk began to remember the beautiful memories he had with Darim throughout that Jeju holiday. Thanks to that kiss, he finally remembered who Darim was. As she was about to leave, Ji Hyuk pulled Darim's hand back and asked, "Shall we do it again?" Just like that night, Ji Hyuk had now remembered everything and hugged Darim. Both of them couldn't hold back their tears, which started rolling down their cheeks. Making up for that lost time was a French kiss from both of them. A truly explosive kiss under the dreamy fireworks of the hotel. Finally, everything fell into place. The two became a couple once again. Then, the day Ji Hyuk wanted most finally arrived. He knelt down in front of Darim and proposed, "Will you marry me?" Darim did not refuse. She accepted the proposal, and from then on, the two became husband and wife. Now, Sunyu has become a famous photographer known by many people. A foreigner was curious about who his artwork was about. Sunyu just looked at the portrait he drew of Ha-young and said she was just a friend. Ha-young appeared out of nowhere and clarified to the foreigner, "We aren't just friends. I'm his girlfriend." Truly, when in love, even going to America couldn't stop Ha-young's love for Sunyu. After a few years together, Ji Hyuk and Darim had two adorable children. The two had a fulfilling life together until their hair turned gray and they grew old together. It was thanks to that damn kiss that Ji Hyuk has such a fulfilling life now. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching the whole movie and for your support. Please remember to subscribe to the channel to support us in releasing exciting movies quickly.